All right, there we go.
Daisy.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and xenomorphs out there. Welcome to the BlackGate podcast, episode 3, Alien versus Sauron. I am your host, Sauron, the Dark Lord of Mordor. Don't look that up; it's factual. And today, with me, I've assembled a crew who are going to venture with me into the void, and we're going to be making a trip to a little planet called LV-426. I heard it's quite the vacation spot.
I just want to go on record saying you didn't mention we were actually going there.
Oh yeah, I mean, you didn't read that fine print.
I didn't even get a contract, dude. I just kind of got thrown in here.
I mean, you said okay. That was
you said, "Hey, you want to be here tonight?" And I said, "Yeah."
You said okay. That was the signing.
That's why I came. Yep, that's why I came prepared as a cat. Cats survive in the Alienverse.
All right, with me.
And the minorities die. Ah, dang it, we're screwed.
We're fucked.
We're screwed, Edgy.
We're fucked.
All right, so
I am both woman and cat. I will super live.
Yeah, you'll probably live.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, when it comes to the alien films, like, the men do not fare too well.
Nah, they really don't.
So I'm gonna let my guests introduce themselves, starting with the cat.
Oh, hi! I'm Soggy. I'm an adult illustrator. I'm a sex pro feminist, and I fucking love Alien and Sigourney Weaver, and I love how for a couple of years in the 2000s she kept making these cameos as badass FBI agents.
Wait, which movie was that? She did that. Which movie did she do a cameo like that?
Multiple.
Yeah, I know what she's referring to. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. For some reason, that in the 2000s and 2010s, like a lot of movies, when it got to the 75-minute mark, where they'd imply there's some badass, and then Sigourney Weaver would show up as a last-minute badass villain, in like at the 75% mark or 90% mark.
That's
depending on the movie. I saw her in some straight to DVD last night. Hey, it's Dominic Powell.
Hey, what's up, man? Next up, I'll let the penguin go next.
I'm Edgy Penguin. I have a channel. It's just full of random shit. I don't know. I'm tired, man. I've had a pretty busy week, and it got more annoying because a file I was working on got corrupted somehow, and I've been redoing it. I'm actually kind of still redoing it now, so it's a mess. I don't know what the hell happened.
Computers, man, technology.
Yeah, and like every recovery thing I could try just did not work, so that's nice.
That's how the machines are going to take over, is that like subtle, like it's going to be little things. It's not going to be some big nuclear war. It's just going to be like trying to log into your computer. It's like, all your files have been deleted. It's like, excuse me? It's like,
yeah, they're just going to drive us crazy.
Bow to your machine overlords, or you'll never get your files back.
Basically.
So ransomware, but in reality.
Yeah. Before
except your computer's actually the one holding your stuff hostage.
It's like, I need to access my emails. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you do that.
Yeah, I can't let you do that, Dave. I'm sorry. It's not happening.
And last but not least,
what was your security code, Dave?
We got the Mighty J.
Oh, I like that. The Mighty J. The one who goes into and holds his ground against 20,000 angry Netflix She-Ra stands. And then still survive. Oh, boy, did I piss off a lot of people that day.
I bet you they're real pissed now with the He-Man thing.
We'll see how that goes. But that is a conversation for another day.
There's some things I've heard about that are making me like a little bit concerned. Like, is this about to be a big bait and switch?
Yeah, a lot of us are saying
because this really feeling like it's about to be a bait and switch.
Kind of like Prometheus.
No, like worse.
Oh yeah,
worse. So at least Prometheus was like interesting until they really tried to make an alien movie halfway through.
That was kind of strange. Oh, and speaking of which, to get ready for this, I introduced myself to aliens, and one combination you wouldn't expect: Alien versus Vampirella.
Oh
That was
yeah!
very
Oh my god!
Nice.
I actually
Okay.
have that because I read it a while back, and then I bought like the hardcover.
Yes, think about the story of
Nice.
Alien, but with vampires and Vampirella. Well, technically it's space vampires, but you get the idea.
It's funny, well, because we're
It
gonna
makes
get
sense
to
in
it
her
a little
world.
bit later because that's something and it's kind of like a meta thing in that I rewatched Predator, for the last stream, and then I rewatched Alien for this stream, and I noticed that these two franchises, and I realized why they eventually cross over, because they have like this weird like appeal that not many other like franchises have, and I think that was the strength. But we'll get into kind of a little bit to the halfway mark. But just to start things off, in case anyone wasn't aware, our topic today is Alien. The entire series, starting from the 1979 classic Alien, all the way to whatever you want to call Alien Covenant was.
You really should get like the
Oh.
gif of that guy from Ancient Aliens just going aliens and just have that
Oh.
looping.
Oh, that
As
would have
the-
been
as the
perfect.
background for this. I think that'd be hilarious.
I
Oh, that
was
would have been perfect.
so
Or that one
disappointed
where
in
it's like a
theaters.
picture of it's a picture of a xenomorph with his hands spread out going humans.
Yeah. Oh, that's a better one. Just humans.
Oh,
Guys,
Alright.
I'm gonna piss some people off.
What?
okay.
I
Go for it.
preferred Alien 4 over Alien Covenant.
Wait, was that Resurrection?
Resurrection.
Yeah, Resurrection.
Yes.
Oh my!
The strange one.
Oh, no
Yeah.
spoiler. We'll talk about the Alien
that was-
series from Marvel.
I grew up with
Oh,
that
boy.
one.
Yeah, like
For some reason, I had that one as VHS as a kid. That's the one I owned.
I have a funny story about the order I've seen these movies in, and it's people are gonna be like, "This is the weirdest freaking order to watch these in," and I'm gonna agree with them.
okay, it's like okay, so just to give the context to start us off here. When I was growing up, like I used to watch a lot of horror movies as a kid. Like I've seen Disney movies, obviously, but they were not like the main movies I watched. I watched a crap ton of horror movies, and it probably explains a lot about who I am today. But one of the first movies I remember seeing, like watching to the point where I fully understood what was happening, was Alien. Like the original 79 classic. I understood enough about it to get the gist of like they're trapped somewhere with a very big, tall, angry thing. And it's been one of my favorite movies ever since, and it's just oh god. But just to give like okay, sorry, my computer just did something weird. There we go. All right, so just to give a little bit of context before we start, as some of you are aware, Alien came out in 1979. Was directed by the however you want to feel about him, the great Ridley Scott, and starred, as we all know
The
by now,
contentious Ridley Scott.
and starring Sigourney Weaver. Actually got a lot of people. John Hurt, God rest his soul, and oh man, I'm not gonna go through the whole list, but
Tom
like
Skerritt.
I couldn't say that last name, but yeah, like, but honestly, like when it comes to that first Alien movie, when I was reading into some of the stuff talking about it, a lot of this movie, a lot of it was kind of like pre-made by like another set. I can't remember who the original writers were.
Yeah, I remember hearing that there was like it was like a completely different
Dan
movie.
O'Bannon.
Was he the original
Dan
writer,
O'Bannon.
or was he?
Yes, I believe they bought the script from him because Dan O'Bannon, I believe he's I think he's the father of the guy behind Full Moon Pictures.
Okay, so yeah,
like
I
I'm
have
not
it in my
joking.
notes here. So yeah, like the original screenplay was by Dan O'Bannon, and so what's weird about it is that like this movie was basically kind of already made. In the original screenplay, like a lot of the stuff that you would see in the movie was already there. The crew of pretty much space like biker or truckers, I should say bikers. Jesus, they're out in space doing a routine job, and they pass by a weird, strange planet with a distress signal going off. They go to investigate. Someone gets infected with a thing, and now this alien is loose on the ship. And if you've seen the original Alien movie, you realize this pretty much the same thing. A lot of the differences that came later would be like character choices and ultimately the alien design. Like a lot of that.
There's
would come
actually
later.
a comic book. It actually was came out recently. It's the first issue did of the original script, like what it would have looked like if it was a movie, but they basically just took the script and turned it into a comic.
Yeah, I actually have that. I read the
Oh.
first few issues. I didn't get to finish it just because I think I was doing like some kind of course or something, and I just couldn't get around finishing. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how much of like it allows you to see how much was Ridley and Giger's influence that came into the movie. Like it allows you to realize where their choices came in and what changes they kind of brought on. So before we go deeper into the
when they
first
get to the
Alien,
planet,
that was like.
can I mention this?
Oh, go ahead.
When they get to the planet, when I was watching it, there's something really interesting about the movie. It is higher elevated art, and I felt like I didn't get very far. I wasn't watching a horror movie. I felt like I was watching a gallery. Jerry Goldsmith, his music, it felt like a ballet. Like when they wake up. So it starts with like this beautiful ballet of them waking up, and then we transition into H.R. Geiger's art on the alien planet with Jerry Goldsmith's beautiful music. Like, my God, I keep forgetting this movie's high art. It's been like 10 years, at least 10 years since I've seen it, and I keep forgetting it's just dripping with just art and production and beauty. It's a wonderful movie in those regards.
It's funny because they ended up not using much of Goldsmith's music for it. They really kind of pushed it back. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of shit that did not end up in the movie or wasn't mixed. Like they cut off a lot of the tracks in the movie because really thought it'd be better with less music. Which, to be fair, I can kind of see the point because it is a horror movie and you're trying to like ground people in it. I mean, I guess if the music's too overpowering, it might take people out of it a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go for that.
I loved it.
That isolation feel.
Yeah.
And it might be because I know, like, the kind of side tangent is that in the movie The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, they do a similar thing where they have music. There's a score to it, but
it's just not
kind of
used much
minimally. That way, it can kind of help with the isolation. So I'm pretty sure that's what Ridley was going for in that first movie.
Very synth tone.
There's a lot of times where it's just like the sounds of the movie, and I didn't really realize this until I was watching it, is that it's just the ship sounds. Like the climax, there's like almost no music. It's just the ship's alarm going off. But
it's like the movie transitions from a gallery to a haunted house. Like,
well, because see, that's
what I was saying. Like,
well, I was just because that's the thing that's like I noticed is that rewatching it, because I've seen it plenty of times, but this time I watched like the original and the director's cut back to back, and there's several different little changes here and there. But one thing is like this movie does like it sets up. It is like I don't want to say it's not a negative thing, but it is a slow burn.
It is. It is slow burn.
It is a slow burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes a slow burn can be a good thing. I mean,
I think it's a great thing in this case because like it allows you to while the character. Because this is another thing I also realize is that like when it comes to like the characters in the movie, I know there's a lot of things where it's like when they originally wrote the screenplay, and even later on when Ridley came onto it, they kept the characters vague enough to the point where almost anyone could play the roles.
Yeah.
And
gender neutral writing.
Yeah, it's like even down to like Sigourney Weaver's character Ripley and Dallas the captain. They were just there was no real backstory to them, at least for that first movie. It was just, here's the characters, here's their roles, and that's it. So it allows you, that opening allows you to kind of get to know these people before, the horror goes down. So you feel for them more, despite not truly knowing them. Yeah.
Question. Do we know anything about her daughter in the first movie, or is the daughter introduced in the second movie?
I think the daughter was introduced in the second one. I haven't seen the original in a while.
Second. Yeah. She's introduced in the second.
Okay, so there's no hints in her. Okay, yeah. Because I was... Okay. And from what I heard, the daughter's only in the director's cut of Aliens?
Yeah, and it was... I guess people kind of were trying to figure out if it was even canon, and then one of the games, Alien Isolation, which was fantastic, was like, no, she has a daughter. It's canon.
Yeah, because I remember it's kind of weird because you kind of, when you watch Aliens, and I think this kind of attests to how much more popular Aliens became over Alien, in that a lot of people kind of accepted her having a daughter, and despite the fact that like it's only ever really referenced in the director's cut of Aliens, not so much in the first movie, and I don't even think it's brought up in the third movie. I don't count the fourth movie because the fourth movie, oh god.
I think.
Oh god, the Joss Whedon mess.
Oh god. Oh lord.
Well, to be fair, I think it was like Joss Whedon like wrote a version of it, and then the studio just went with it and changed it or something. That's like what he says. Apparently,
it was also the director. It was also. They had Joss Whedon doing a schlock action script, and then they got this fancy pants French director who. That's why there's this random lesbianism in the movie. Yeah.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah. So we had pretentious French translating a Joss Whedon schlock script.
And they played it very serious, which could be funny if it was...
Yeah.
If the movie just wasn't shit,
yes,
it was aliens.
It was Resurrection.
Yeah, because like the tone, like... And I know it's kind of a side tangent because they haven't even gotten to it yet, but like the tone of Resurrection is just completely different from every other Alien movie.
Yeah, good
like,
God,
all of them.
That was...
Oh, God.
Like, say what you will about Alien 3 Prometheus and Covenant, at least the tone is similar to the first one.
Yeah, at least the tone was consistent.
Yes.
Like, Resurrection is almost like it's like a bad...
It's like a parody, almost.
It's like a bad comic book movie.
It is.
And it's so weird that like the leader of the quote unquote pirate troop seems to die first. This is like, wow.
He dies in the stupidest way too.
Yep.
It's like, I'm gonna go wander off from the group down this random corridor. I was like, oh shit, there's an alien here, and he's biting my leg and dragging me through a vent. I guess I'll die now.
Yeah, but just to keep the focus though. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going to mention the order of the movies I saw them in, because I saw them in a weird order, too. Like,
actually,
I'm going to get into that, or do we want to wait?
I'm actually curious about that, because I saw them sort of in order. But yeah, I'm gonna start with Soggy. We're just going to go around and say, what order did you see these movies in?
I think I was about 5 to 7. And I saw bits of Alien 3 recorded on a VHS from like cable.
So in other words,
for the longest, bootlegly. But oh yeah, I had my grandmother would graciously record stuff for us. You know, my grandmother with her secret Microsoft money, because she was part of the group that was locked in at night and not paid. So when they sued, they got Microsoft stock. So nice. our gracious miser grandmother bestowing me with a choppy VHS of 3. Then she bought me, this is the same grandmother, once in a while she would buy me things and actually let me keep them and not give them to my cousins. She bought me Alien 4. I'm 7.
Well, I watched, I think, RoboCop when I was about that age too. So sometimes parents in the 80s were nuts and the 90s. But it was a fun time to be a kid.
Yeah.
I was playing Legacy of Kane Soul Reaver, and I was
definitely.
like 4, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I just thought stabbing vampires with spears was cool.
Back
But,
when parents weren't paying attention to that crap. No, I'm kidding. My parents were great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
one
I
of my
had
parents was cool with that.
4 on VHS. Oh yeah, very familiar with 4 and the creepy alien. Then I saw Alien vs Predator, Alien vs Predator Resurrection. I saw these in theaters. Then when I was a teenager, we at Blockbuster we used to find these DVD sales of when they were clearing out their extra DVDs, and we got a hold of 20th anniversary Alien, 20th or the anniversary of Aliens. I think we have a copy of Alien 3 somewhere. But my stepbrother, my adult I think he was like 22. He was living with us. He was obsessed with EVE Online. And he wanted to try to tell me about EVE Online. So he realized I had a copy of Alien. He's like, oh, you gotta watch this. This is what EVE Online is like. You gotta. So yeah, I finally saw it. Yeah, I know. And then in my 20s, I saw Aliens on TV. So I have a very strange history with the franchise.
For some reason, I just had a very Family Guy moment. It's like, Aliens, yeah, on TBS. Aw.
Editing out all the good shit.
Oh my god, that must have been
It
horrible.
was Showtime. It was like Stars or Showtime.
Yeah, because I remember.
No, it was Stars or Showtime. It was uncut.
I think there was
good.
one. There was one scene. I remember I watched Alien once. I can't remember which. I think it was Alien. I watched on TV one time, and there was like a scene. It's like one of the characters deaf. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but it was just so edited to the point where like I didn't even like. In hindsight, I was like, "What did I miss here? Like, did my TV crap out? Like, he sees the alien and it just cuts to him like gone." And I was like, "What happened? Did it grab him? Like, did I like this? The TV cut out? Did the broadcast cut out? No, it's just edited. They had to censor it."
He
Why even
literally was
bother showing the
edited to
movie
death.
if you're gonna censor it like that? Like, why even bother?
Well, I mean, because they get money regardless.
I mean,
Censored or
true.
not, they still get
Yeah.
paid for it.
It's basically me every time I try and watch an anime with fan service, and they edit it in ways that are very jarring.
Oh, it's like when I watch Blood Sea on Hulu, and every time the gore happens, there's just a god race censoring it, and there's literal scenes where it's just high schoolers getting mowed down by Lovecraft monsters. Like, why is there so many god rays in this scene? And apparently, it was like that like everywhere. So I was about to get mad at Funimation. Like, oh, this was everywhere. That they censored it like this. Apparently,
yeah, Japan has bad censorship.
Well, because apparently
Japan
they were going to get
very
it in.
Poor censorship.
It was going to get like the I don't know what the equivalent. I don't know if NC-17 is for TV, but that equivalent. Apparently, they didn't censor it. Now I'm like, is there an uncensored version that exists on DVD? Because I want it. I just want to see what happened. Or Blu-ray. I don't know. The series is pretty old. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to Amazon. See if I can find it.
Huh.
All right,
hey guys, Dominic. Read Dominic Powell's comment.
TBS is known to show the extended cut of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. I'm surprised there hasn't been an official director's cut of the movie as an anniversary edition.
Oh, there is a Blu-ray, but is it uncensored?
I was not
Blu-rays normally were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out there's an extended version of Star is Born on TBS. Waterworld had its director's version ended up on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really good.
Huh.
Yeah, so director's cuts and extended versions can end up on TV, and especially Japanese TV.
I don't know.
There was something I was trying to remember.
TV censorship is it's so weird.
Yeah.
You want to know something strange I found out?
What's up?
those cut up versions of movies are literally the only way some religious people watch movies, because like they're not allowed to, or like they have weird social pressures. I remember watching this one Jehovah's Witness. He was saying that
No,
the
I'm sorry,
only
I'm not
way
talking about
he
that.
was
I was
he really
looking at the.
oh
I was looking at the price of this damn Blu-ray. It's $107 for the whole thing. It's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, they know how to get you.
You gotta come way to fuck down on that, man. Like $100+ for a series that came out. Sorry.
Those weirdly screwed up versions of movies are sometimes the only way really religious, like somebody who likes cinema, but they're stuck in a super religious family. That's the only way they can watch those movies. It's really sad, but I'm glad that they're able to consume media, at least in some way. Because the parents or people, they know these movies where the guy was literally edited to death.
I'm trying to think what's the worst case
I feel bad.
I don't think what's the worst case of edited for TV movie. Oh, I know one.
I have it.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't that bad. Wait, what movie was that?
Cheech and Chong. I think it was the second. Yes. For some reason, in the late 90s, there was something called the V-chip version. The V-chip version makes it so it's family consumable. Yep, and I saw a lot of these on Fox, actually.
Yeah, I remember.
And there's another example. Yeah, but Cheech and Chong,
just to get back on the topic, though, because we kind of...
sorry, I need to derail.
Well, we were talking about...
but I was going to say, they edited marijuana. They edited the marijuana to be diamonds.
So people will watch.
And they had these insert shots of random. No, they were like, "Look at these diamonds," and there's just this random shot of some white guy's hands in diamonds.
Wow.
Jeez Louise.
And they had a V-chip version of Dusk Till Dawn.
The fuck?
That must have been interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so
it was.
I'll jump to Jay. What's your history with the Alien movies? Did you get to watch them in any weird, funky way?
Well, the first time I saw Aliens, because that was the first one I saw it at a friend's sleepover. It was like one of those things that I think it was even before we were teenagers, and we were watching two movies. First one we watched was Beverly Hills Cop 2. I didn't even see 1 until I was an adult because I could never find it, but 2 was easy enough to find. And the other movie we saw was Aliens. And it was pretty awesome. You know, you're just like a little kid, the parents not watching, and all of a sudden you're watching that. And of course, all the crap that's going on and all the guns going off and it was just a really cool time to be a kid in the 90s. I think that was at the time that I was watching it. So that was the first one I saw, a little kid, and just probably drank way too much cola because I wanted to stay up as late as possible. Then when I saw Alien, just a regular one, I saw it and I really didn't appreciate it at first because I just thought it was boring. But then again, you're coming from Aliens, which was really action-packed and really awesome and everything like that. Not that the first one wasn't, but as Edgy, I think, were you the one that said it's a slow burn?
I think Sauron did, and I was agreeing with him.
Yeah, we both said it's a very slow burn kind of movie.
Yeah, so I definitely did not appreciate that until, interestingly enough, I became a little pretentious and became a film guy. It's like, oh my God, why did I not appreciate this when I was a kid? And but yeah, and then sometime later I ended up watching Alien 3, and I didn't appreciate it at the time because I was really young, but I do feel that when I first saw it, I'm like, this movie freaking sucks. Why did I wait all this time for the ending? Wait, can we give spoilers in this?
Huh?
Can we give spoilers in this?
I mean,
the movie's so old. I think it's fine.
Okay, we've spent all that time that's so invested with Ripley, and then she dies. What the fuck?
I was fine with them killing Ripley. I just didn't like that they killed Newt and Hicks too, and I was like, I feel like one of them should have been alive for this.
Yeah, that
and their deaths don't make sense,
especially
to stop
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah,
Well,
because she did not want that to happen.
None of them wanted that to happen. We mentioned this in the last stream, but like so many people, like particularly on like the alien side, just did not want Alien versus Predator to happen, and I think it has something to do with like because Alien is a bit more like on the like the films are a bit more on the
high art
side, while Predator, aside from that first movie, even that first movie, a lot of people don't really see it as like a high art kind
popcorn.
of thing. Yeah, and it's like
popcorn fun.
Calm down. You're not
calm
that
thyself.
Calm thyself,
Huh?
Sir Scott.
Yeah, Sir Ridley Scott and James Cameron, calm thyselves. It's a movie. I won't say Alien is fun in the sense of popcorn fun, but they're fun movies.
I mean, Aliens kind of brought that.
Aliens more so. 3 is depressing as hell.
Yeah, it's just like wow.
Oh yeah,
after all the shit that she went to,
its
she ended up in a
production
prison planet, and
that was
and
also depressing as hell. It's production
favorite.
too, but we'll get into that at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, then we got Soggy's favorite, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I like 4 more than 3, just because like, hey, Ripley's alive, sort of.
I'm probably in the camp of I absolutely despised 4. Like that's the one movie I genuinely hate in the Aliens universe.
I like 4 as like you get drunk with some friends and you watch it for the action and the stupidness. You're not going in here like it's not even good high art. It's like it's not even a good popcorn flick. It's a good popcorn flick. You don't need alcohol. You can just watch and enjoy it. This you need to turn your brain off, and then you might enjoy some of it.
That movie was a hate watch for me.
yeah.
I need to watch 3 and Resurrection with a more refined palate, so to speak. Because again, the only reason why I liked 4 was because Ripley's back. So it's like, hey, that basically meant her sacrifice wasn't completely in vain. I don't feel so bad about the 3rd anymore.
I mean, it kind of was though.
Yeah, because she's like what Ripley 8.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention her whole point was the whole point was she was trying to stop Wayland from getting an alien.
Like she gets gay with
a robot. She goes from hating robots, being friends with robots, to getting gay with a robot.
I don't know.
Was that in the movie? I don't remember that. I mean, I thought
it was more so kind of implied rather than she was kind of like weird towards the robot.
Okay, we'll get to it because
they were like damn near kissing.
We jumped the whole movie because that version of Ripley was so
no one wanted to talk
weird.
About
She's so weird in that movie. Like it's like.
And to be fair, Sigourney Weaver was pushing that too. Like this, she was like, "No, I told the writers keep going, make it even stranger."
Yeah, I think at that point she was just having fun with it.
I think she was just fucking with him, honestly.
I think at that point,
the biggest troll of them all.
She's probably thinking like, Alien vs Predator is gonna happen inevitably, so let me have some fun before they really, really start hamming this up.
Yeah, she's like, "Let me get in on this ham too." On this delicious ham.
hey, Winona Ryder, let's almost touch lips.
And then they got Ron Perlman in there.
Director.
And then she's flirting with Ron Perlman too. And then
no. Remember, there's a scene where Ron Perlman kisses the dude in the wheelchair just out of nowhere. It just happens at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the guy in the wheelchair's like, dude,
this is a very bisexual universe.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, heck,
it was just kind of random though. That was the thing. Like I wouldn't have minded if it was like they showed that these two characters like cared about each other like at all. Outside of we're on the same team.
The whole movie. He bullies him the whole movie.
Does this mean Ron Perlman's character is a tsundere?
Oh yeah.
I don't.
Does that make him a tsundere? Because I feel like it should at that point.
It does.
All right, so back to Alien.
And you know what? Not that I'm not sure if I could say Alien Covenant was a bad film, but I just remembered, oh, wait, I actually did watch this movie. Wow, I completely forgot about this movie. So I'm not saying that it was a bad movie. It just didn't leave an impression on me like the other ones. I mean, say what you will about the 3rd and Resurrection, at least they left an impression. Where in 3rd, I hated it because of what happened. And the 4th one, it was weird, but at least, hey, Ripley's back, even if she's a little weirder. But Covenant is just like, wow, I did watch this. I don't know. It could just be the weird one out. But that's how I felt about about Covenant.
we'll get to that because like we still got a whole other set of movies to get through. But
Oh, and I didn't mention the order I watched these in. We kind of went around.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I first watched. I actually. This is like before Alien vs. Predator came out. I had heard about it, and I think someone had got me one of the toys, like the alien that got caught in the net thing and had the grid pattern on him.
Oh,
like someone had got me that, and I thought it was really cool. And I was like, I don't know what this is. And my dad was explaining it to me. And then we ended up getting, I think we watched Predator first, actually, and then we went to Alien. We went Alien. I think the order was Aliens, then Alien versus Predator.
Oh God.
Wow. Then Alien.
That is a weird place to go from.
No, I'm sorry, not Alien. Alien 4.
Oh, well, what the hell?
I know. It gets even weirder. Then Alien, and then Alien 3. Weirdest order, I know. And then Alien versus Predator Requiem. That was the weirdest order.
He went from the hammy years to the high art years. Then back to the hammy years.
Yeah, it was weird. It was the weirdest order. And I remember even though I hadn't seen 3 yet, I remember hating Resurrection. Then when I saw 3 and got the full context of what happened in 3, I was like, I hate this movie even more now. It's like you couldn't just let Ripley die. It's like you couldn't just let her die. You had to bring her back for no reason.
Yeah, that. Oh God, like. I think it comes to the territory of like, what do you call it? Because like back in the day, movies weren't really as like widely available like they are today, in the sense that you can just Google search a movie and boom, there it is. But yeah, it's like back in the day, like a lot of movies, even like early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, it's like you didn't really like. Your best bet was to go to like a video store. And it's just whatever they have there. Because you might go there looking for Alien. They don't have it, but they got Aliens. So you're like, hey, let's start here. So.
Oh, and I should mention with Aliens, it was a special edition. I didn't even know what the difference was for a long time. Then I watched the original. I was like, hey, this scene isn't in it. And then I realized, I was watching a special edition the whole time.
No. Oh, yeah. Remember? It was worse back then. No. Think about this. What if you didn't even have Blockbuster? What if you had the mom and pop video store and you don't even find Aliens, or Alien 3? Oh, well, what the hell am I going to watch? Oh, well, Alienator or this Roger Corman movie.
Oh, yeah, the cheap knockoff.
Oh, God, now I'm just remembering that Asylum, movie. I was looking at that Asylum movie of called Alien versus Hunter or something stupid like that. And it's like, this feels like it's skirting a fine line with not getting sued.
And then like the cover of it is even like it's very clearly like it's the Alien versus Predator cover, but just different characters.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking, I was like, man, this is getting real close to getting sued. Someone getting sued over this shit.
There was this one anime that I was surprised that did not get sued by the people who owned Alien, because it was like almost beat for beat similar to that of the original Alien. I mean, basically, again, there's lots of infection. There's people
who are Lily Cat, because I've seen that.
Yeah, it's Lily Cat. And,
that was like a thing in Alien hybrid movie.
Yeah, and to be able to get to where they're going, they have to go into hibernation. There's a cat that has high importance and is also a computer, because of course. And it's just like, how did they not get sued for this movie?
Well, because there's a lot of like I was looking up stuff for this stream. There's a lot of movies that are very like pretty much recognized as Alien clones. Like their formulas are so blatantly the same. But I think what it is that because like the Alien premise alone is such a like, I mean, as much as I love Alien, the premise is it's so simple that it's like it's hard to not argue. Oh, they plagiarized. So you're like, dude, your idea, as great as it is very simple and straightforward. It's like
a formula that works, especially if you're doing a horror movie.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, a lot of horror movies kind of have a similar formula in the sense where they kind of like they maybe not be as slow of a burn as Alien, but they do the sense of like they kind of set things up, and then when the creature or monster shows up, it's all downhill from there.
I mean, if you really want to think about, I mean, even Aliens, like that's like the perfect video game formula. It's like, okay, you got a bunch of badasses going into a place to deal with some kind of monster that they underestimate, and it turns out it's way worse than they thought. Or they go somewhere that, we lost
Oh,
contact
yeah.
with this place, so we're gonna go investigate. It turns out, oh shit, there's a monster here.
Freaking
And
Dead Space.
Dead Space is a good example.
I
Trying to think of
don't know if it
another one.
counts with Fear, kind of in a way.
Fear,
Not in space, but yeah, they go
kind
investigate
of,
a
I guess.
facility.
Yeah, Fear, kind of. I guess you could.
What's that? System
do
Shock?
that. System Shock
That's
would
the one I was
probably
cool
fit.
movie.
System
Or that
Shock would
one
probably
game.
fit. Yeah, that was a good game. Resident Evil, you could argue, kind of fits with the whole we're looking for Bravo team in the woods, and then it's like, zombie dogs, and then they get thrown in the house. You could kind of argue it's following that formula.
Definitely.
Dino Crisis, kind of, a little bit.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about with Resident Evil, the fact that what's her face, Sherry gets infected, and they have to take that out, or like what's her name, Jill gets infected in the third one. They have to cure her similar to the way that they would cure anyone who got an alien infection too.
Yeah.
Little did we know, Aliens would be the perfect Resident Evil adaptation. The survival horror at its purest.
That is.
I mean.
Oh,
and then you have
guys,
Metroid, which is very clearly inspired by Alien. I mean,
yeah.
the pterodactyl's named Ridley. I mean, come on.
He looks like a Xenomorph. And this is another side tangent, but I remember playing Smash Brothers Ultimate, and when he got added as DLC, and I would play as him, and like one of his taunts, he straight up does a Xenomorph roar. Like, it's blatant.
I mean, even the trailer for his reveal, it starts off like a horror movie where where Samus and a bunch of characters are walking and Ridley's just picking them off in the shadows and keep turning around and one of them is missing until it's just Samus left. It's like, that's straight up Xenomorph.
Yeah. Did you ever play Metroid 2? That was like the one that was for Game Boy.
Are you talking about the one where you're like killing all the Metroids on their home planet?
Yes.
I never played that one, but I do know about it.
Okay, well, the reason why I bring this up is one thing that's kind of interesting that they don't really do too much, keyword is too much, in the other games, is apparently Metroids can evolve. So very similar to going from the baby to the to those big Xenomorphs, Metroids could do stuff that's similar to that as well. In fact, the end boss of the game is a queen Metroid who is like monstrously
huge,
ugly, thin, but pretty fun fight. So, in fact, that's one of the reasons why finding that one baby Metroid was such a big deal for Super Metroid, because that was the only survivor. And
it also wasn't trying to kill you.
Yes. Well, actually, the first time it sees you, it's like, oh, mama, mama. I'm like, and of course, Samus couldn't kill it. I sure as hell wouldn't be able to kill it because, like, oh, it's not trying to kill me. It's so cute. But anyways, getting to the whole thing where it mixes with Alien, it was just kind of interesting that they probably not just had Ridley. That's kind of ironic too. Ironic name too.
I think it's funny that they call it the giant pterodactyl monster. That's her nemesis, Ridley.
Yep. But also the fact that the Metroids again evolved somewhat to that of the Aliens, which is cool.
Yeah. They even kind of, especially its final form, the the Omega form. The one from Fusion, which is the final boss of that game, is an Omega Metroid. It kind of looks like an alien mixed with a predator, with like it has like the face, like mandible thing going on, but the head kind of has a vaguely alien-looking shape to it.
Okay, so that's another thing I wanted to get to, because in the movies of Alien throughout the series, so as we know, like the initial Alien designed by H.R. Giger, and he pretty much designed the entire aesthetic for the movie when it comes to like the alien design, even the eggs design, the face huggers design, even the space jockey and the ship. Like he pretty much designed all of that.
Yeah,
and he kind of set the template for what all Xenomorphs and Xenomorph related creatures would look like in the future. However, when it comes to like that first movie, there really isn't a lot of like I know like in the later movies they add a lot of the extra stuff, like the different classes as Xenomorphs, where you have like the warriors, the Praetorians, like the queens, and they introduce like the life cycle. But in that first movie, technically speaking, there is no life cycle other than egg, face hugger, baby, full grown.
We didn't know how they kind of give an answer, but they don't confirm it in the movie. How you got the egg again.
Yeah, that's in the director's cut, in which there's a scene where Ripley is like, it's at the very end. This is only in the director's cut. At the very end, Ripley's running throughout the ship when the self-destruct is getting ready to go, and she passes through a corridor, and on the wall she sees Dallas and Brett. Brett, who's the first victim, and he's like in this weird cocoon. He's like covered in alien slime, and you can see a shape. It's not exact, but you can see like an egg shape kind of forming around him, and it's implied that Dallas is going through the same process.
Which explains why they never find the bodies and why like there's not a whole lot of blood when people get taken by it too.
Yeah. So basically, in the original movie, the context of the alien breeding is the egg morph, which is what I think Ridley calls it. And I think it later kind of gets that dubbing, is that they'll take the humans, they'll literally shove them on a wall, and they'll like cover it in this weird secretion, and it slowly converts him to a egg with a face hugger inside, and
Yeah,
that
it
is
takes
initially
Oh,
life
it's jizz.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Sauron, I get
God.
to ask you in a moment, but let's finish this conversation.
Yeah, and like so yeah, in that first movie there is no queen, there is no hive. In fact, I don't even think the initial context was to have them even be even remotely like bugs. I think the whole thing was just they were just this weird species that was just what's the word? Just
Unknown.
understandable.
I just assumed that they were not. I don't even. When I first,
Unidentified.
what I was thinking was they weren't even supposed to be like that organic. They were supposed to be biomechanical, sort of.
Yeah, because
So it's like they might not have even
Yeah.
been like the eggs might not have been necessarily laid, but they could have just been a bioweapon type of thing, which is kind of what Prometheus implied anyway.
yeah,
But
and oh god, that's another thing. I'm trying to find the proper segue for that one because oh god, so yeah, you have that. You have the space jockey, which we later find out is an engineer. But in the initial movie, it's just a space jockey. That's all he is. And there's really that much. There's not really much else to it. Like that's it. That's all the context you get for the aliens and what they are. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Is that like yeah, and that's kind of like, to me, it always had like a very. I know this word kind of get thrown around a lot, but to me, it's a very like eldritch kind of like Lovecraftian horror to the alien, in the sense like there's no real way to understand it. It's just an alien.
Undescribable. Non-Euclidean description.
Yeah, and even the title "Alien" is like that's not a accurate like. Well, I mean it's accurate, but it's not
it
like
is
a specific.
accurate.
It's not a specific monogram.
Yeah.
It's like that's not the species name. Later they get a species name, but in that first initial movie, it's just an alien. It's like the Thing, where that's not its actual name. That's just what they call it.
Although, interesting note, predators call them bugs.
Yep.
Yeah, bugs, serpents, and all sorts of things.
Yeah, it depends on what like continuity you're in. They call them different things.
Well,
But even then,
I'm
like
this from the comic continuity.
Oh, from the comics, I think they do call them. They just call them bugs.
they call them bugs, serpents, and like they have another name for them. But to me, that kind of adds to the whole. And I know this might seem controversial, but to me, that the fact that they have different names for them kind of keeps up the mystique of them. Because like even these guys who've been hunting them for centuries don't know what they're really called.
I think there was a comic where they actually revealed what they're actually called, and I think they kind of dropped it because no one liked it.
Yeah, because
That
we'll get to the comics, because that's a whole can of worms. It's almost worse than worse. It's more messy than the Predator comics by a long shot.
Wow, that's
Like, because
that's hard to do.
I'm about to say that's saying a lot because some of the Predator comics get a little bit messy.
And
So-
yet here we are.
Well, actually, this is actually a good segue for that, because for that first movie comes out, that's the movie. It wasn't until like what 90, yeah, almost like 10 years later did we get Aliens, and you had Sigourney Weaver returns, but like now in that director's helm is what's his name, James Cameron. He directed it and he did the story for it, and so a lot of the stuff that we would kind of later introduce, like some of the more iconic stuff with the aliens, in terms of like the queens, the hives, their kind of like patterns of strategy. Like a lot of that was it was pretty much all introduced in Aliens, and they even talked about in the commentary and behind the scenes is that like when they were coming up with this movie, they asked themselves like, where did these eggs come from? Like the directors and the writers, like where did this come from? And then that's when they came up with the concept of the queen.
Nice.
And,
what's interesting is James Cameron, he cut his teeth before Aliens on the Alien ripoff Galaxy of Terror. He was just supposed to paint, but he just did a bit of everything.
Yeah, like Galaxy of Terror, that's one of those movies that's like pretty much like Alien clone kind of movie.
The bug assault scene. There's a sexual assault scene involving a giant maggot.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's I can't remember his reasoning for that scene either.
Actually, if his goal was to horrify,
guys, I know something about it. So they don't know why, but there was one producer who was really wanted a sex scene. Every time I look into exploitation movies, there's usually some really pervy, nasty director, and for some reason they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to see her tits. Put in a rape scene. Oh yeah." So they had one of those directors. So they're like, "Hey, let's make it outrageous. Let's make it so stupid and so fucking outrageous that they won't do it." No, the guy really wanted the scene now. Yeah, let's get this giant 500-pound maggot on top of this actress and start humping her.
Someone's got some interesting fetish. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And the maggot almost killed her. The maggot almost landed on the actress in practice.
I remember seeing that where it's like the prop itself almost crushed her.
That sucks.
Yeah.
What's funny is like in the comparison of the two.
Yeah,
I've seen this
right.
before. It's like because I've seen people make this comment before. Is that like because Alien has that similar like sexual assault kind of like connotation, but it's like they do it in a very much it's subtle but not. I mean it's far more subtle than Galaxy of Terror, but at the same time it's like
yeah.
It's like it's there, but it's not in your. Well, I say it is kind of in your face, but it's not.
Poor choice of words.
Metaphors.
Poor choice of words. Yeah, poor choice of words.
It's in your face.
Metaphors.
Because I mean, there's only one.
It's metaphors. It's subtext.
Yeah.
It's more about uncomfortable subject of sexual assault more in general. Not hey, let's get a maggot, have it hump a woman on screen.
Yeah, the alien isn't dry humping you in the there's no scene of that. But
well, funny you should mention that, Edgy, and Sauron, you might be able to verify this. Allegedly, keyword is allegedly, the original way that they were going to be going with it was the aliens were going to flat out be rapey.
Yes, there is
actually
a thing.
there's a scene with the other lady on the crew, the one who panics and gets the black dude Parker killed. Her death scene, it was kind of implied that that the alien like used his tail to
sodomize.
On the trans woman?
Was she supposed?
She was trans in the sequel. She was.
Yes.
She's technically not trans in the first movie.
Technically,
from a writing perspective,
later.
Technically, she's not. Yeah.
Well,
because again, it's like that context comes later.
Yeah.
But I remember reading about.
Oh, that was the second movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
The second movie.
In the first movie, none of them have a backstory. None of the characters have a backstory. Not like an accurate, concrete one. Not really. But I remember reading that in that the aliens' behavior was supposed to be a lot more sexual, and that in the final scene, like when Ripley blows it out the airlock, the reason why it doesn't initially kill her is because it's aroused by her.
I mean,
that's not original screenplay. From what I read, it's not original screenplay. This is Ridley Scott coming up with stuff.
I'm kind of glad someone told him not to do that because that would be.
I can't remember how he decided not to include it, but he didn't. So I mean, in his credit, he didn't.
That ruins. Yeah. I was gonna say because that ruins all the feminist brownie points I give the movie. If it went with the more blatant rapey stuff, it would not be hailed as the feminist classic that it is.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you could see
Like
it as
it would
like
not be.
destroys her attacker.
I mean, yeah, I can kind of
Yeah,
see
but I'm saying it's not in your face. Like I said, they're doing it
Even
more
as
high
in
art, more
tasteful.
subtle, more about the uncomfortability, not the alien jams its tail into someone's vagina.
To be fair, I don't know if they
There's
actually
a
shot
big
that you're supposed
difference
to
between
see it,
subtext
but
and doing that.
Yeah, I think it was more
Yeah,
like a
I'm glad they didn't do
concept-based thing.
that.
It was like I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of those like they were trying to come up with how does the alien properly breed, and
it
then
might
they
be
were
what
like,
they were doing.
yeah, and they're like, you know what, we don't really need that.
Oh.
We don't really need that scene. Or that's when they went for the
Just
egg morph scene because then it's like, oh, that's more creepier. That's more.
The other thing
There-
is a lot of stuff they wanted more shots with the alien, or some of the scenes they had to heavily edit because they couldn't get the suit to work right.
Daisy.
Oh yeah.
And originally in the scene where
Oh.
the lady gets killed, apparently at one point the alien was supposed to crawl backwards towards her, like kind of creepily, but they couldn't get it to work with the suit because it kept falling apart or something. So they had to cut the scene
Oh,
down to
yeah.
just it just
You're-
walks over to her and kills her.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, is that so when it comes to aliens, you know, it's been almost 10 years later, and you know, in terms of production wise, and
Just
so
a second,
you know, a lot
Slim.
of things.
Yeah, you're right, Slim.
Wait, what did
She's not
Slim
very
say?
subtle with the panties. That's what I. That's he said. Weaver, her panties, scared running away for dear life, isn't necessarily subtle. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't need the alien to actually rape people. Weaver running around in her panties is pretty effective.
I'm kind of wondering if that's why if that was the idea. That's why that scene was shot, because we're looking at the idea of the alien.
Well,
Was
I can see that as kind of
Ripley.
like trying
It's like a
to
holdover
sell
from
home the
that.
fact that she's
Vulnerability.
completely vulnerable. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
was gonna
that's
say,
true too. But
that's
I'm
the
kind of
vulnerability
wondering if
kind
that
of
also
thing.
was that.
Comfortable.
But
You're
I
alone
remember,
in your
so-
house. You're hanging out with your cat. No pervert alien looking at me. Get the fuck out. Airlock time.
Alien's just like, hello.
But yeah, like in the second movie though, Aliens is like the technology's evolved. They have better suits. They have more suits to use, and one of the things they managed to pull off better is get the suit functioning to the point where the xenomorph could properly move. In the sense where you can't like the illusion is still alive when their movements, as opposed to the first movie. And so when they had that, one of the things they did was kind of give them a much more animalistic, much more kind of like bug insect like movement, where they're crawling on walls, they're crawling on the ceiling,
Because bugs are freaky.
crawling through the ducts. And so yeah, a lot of that movie is like
Is
What?
it the second or third movie that they use some go motion? Is
was
it the
the-
second or third movie
think
that
that's
they
the
use
third
some go
movie they had
motion?
it's the third movie.
That's when they
Oh.
had the one that spawned from, well, depending on which cut you're watching, it's either a dog or an ox.
Yeah,
You know, the dog one
runner.
makes no sense because
Oh, yeah.
it bursts out of the dog. Like, this thing is almost as big as the dog. Where did the dog have room for this thing in its body? Like, that poor Rottweiler.
Yeah, and yeah, because that's another thing. But like in the second movie, they introduce a lot more of the alien movement and the life cycle, and wow, yeah, alien dog, the dog alien.
Oh, and the lore too, like the whole thing where if there's a baby alien, they will not kill that human or something.
Well, that's
like
Well, that
Alien
was 3 where they
That's
established
3.
that.
Alien 2, it kind of just sets up like the life cycle. There's not really much else beyond that.
Well, remember at the end of the movie where the reason why Ripley survived with the little girl was because she pointed her flamethrower at one of the eggs, and that's when they kind of all backed
yeah,
up.
that
Yeah,
one. Well,
but I
that
was the
introduced
queen.
the aliens' intelligence.
Yeah, the
So, at
queen's
least
intelligence more so.
showing
'cause
that
she-
like they're animals,
Yep.
but they're not mindless. Like they have
They're maternal.
smarts.
or at
They
least
have
the queen
smarts.
is. I don't know if the other ones are that
She's
maternal.
a mom too.
Well, see,
Two
that's another
single
thing.
moms duking it out.
But
Yeah,
see, that's
that-
another thing too.
That
Battle
robot
of the
seemed
Moms.
badass.
Yeah, the power loader was awesome.
That's another thing too that's introduces that like in the original movie's context, the alien It's supposed to be this. It behaves animalistically, but it's really intelligent, right?
Yeah.
It's not smart enough to
Yeah.
speak and operate stuff, but it's smart enough to
Actually, I
understand
have
things.
something about that. There was another plan for the movie's ending. That
Uh-oh.
at
Oh?
one point, and I don't think they filmed any of this, one of the endings was that the alien was going to actually kill Ripley. And the last audio you hear, it was
Is
revealed that
it
the alien
mimicking
can
its voice?
imitate people's voices.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I'm
it-
like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
kind of glad
About
they didn't
voice
go that
box or
way
some shit?
because that would have been kind of bullshit since it never did that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then well, cause see, that's another thing is that like in that first movie, the alien, like what it is so vague. It's just vague enough to where everything in Aliens, it doesn't necessarily contradict what came before. Because now you just have one
Yep.
alien who is trying to establish a hive. In Aliens, you have xenomorphs who have pretty much conquered the planet, and they're no longer trying to establish a hive; they're protecting the hive. And
Yeah.
I know one of the things they kind of I don't know if this is a retroactive like retcon for like after Aliens, but I know one of the things they try to explain is that like the reason why the aliens in Aliens
Smart.
aren't as smart is because the drone in the first movie they later dubbed it as the drone alien. It had a larger head, a larger brain, and thus it contributed to more intelligence. But because now the queen is already established, the hive's already established, they don't need that much intelligence. So now they just have warriors who their main function is just to protect the hive.
I just kind of assumed the drones were in the hive and just not really like seen. That they were the ones building everything.
I think that's what Alien Colonial Marines kind of implies.
Because there's a game where and weirdly enough, it's an Alien versus Predator game, but it's an RTS game, which I don't freaking know why they decided to do this.
Oh,
but it actually kind of worked.
Yeah,
and the drone alien was basically that. Like the whole idea was, oh, this thing builds like the hive and isn't really meant to fight things, but it can if it has to.
Yeah, pretty much Aliens introduces life cycles and classes to the aliens, like the kind of, I guess you can call natural classes, like the drones, the warriors, and the queen. I know later they kind of introduce like Praetorians and stuff like that, but they all stem from that basic idea that like it's like an ant hive where each bug has its role in the hive.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Aliens is definitely much more of an action film than it is a horror film. I don't care what anybody says; it's got horror elements, but it is definitely much more of an action film.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
The only horror scene I would say that legit was creepy in Aliens was the part where the Marines start getting picked off.
Oh yeah.
Just because they kept cutting to the first person thing, the cameras, and the people freaking out, like, what is happening? Where's Crow? Where's this dude? What is going on?
Game over, man.
Going on?
Basically, that was it. It was like, they're screaming, where's the Sarge? And the music, that weird droning music is playing.
Yeah,
and it's just what the fuck. Like,
yeah,
you
that
don't know
whole
what's going
scene,
on.
my god. Because I know, like, one criticism I've seen of Aliens when I was looking up is that they said I've seen people say they kind of like depowered the aliens because they're killing them in droves. But to me, that scene, especially being like the first introduction to the alien in that movie, kind of sets the stage. Like, yeah, they're being killed in droves, but they're still just as deadly.
Not to mention, we are 50 years in the future where they have, assumingly, more advanced weapons too. So it does make sense that they would be easier to kill. Since, I mean, even though, yeah, there's more of them, but it's like they're not, it's not like the aliens have technology of their own. So you kind of have that, okay. Yeah, it's like, a wolf's deadly, but it's less deadly if you have a gun, That's kind of the best analogy I can think of.
But the wolf doesn't have the acid blood.
That's true. Wolf doesn't have acid blood, but
which
you get
again,
the
I forgot
idea,
to
though.
mention that was something that was added. This kind of a retroactive point, but that was something that was added later in the original Alien, because I think someone asked, like, well, why don't they just shoot it? And so that's when they came up with the
The acid blood.
acid blood, because that's why you can't just shoot it, because if you do, acid blood flies everywhere, and now it just ruins everything and kills more people than you probably took to kill it.
Not to mention you risk decompressing the
Oh,
ship,
yeah.
which would kill everybody.
And they even established that with the face hugger too. Like,
Yeah, that's why they couldn't just rip it off the guy's face. I was like, oh, we gotta cut it off. It's gonna destroy the ship.
yeah,
And then you have the robot chicken parody thing, where the alien bleeds into the floor, then keeps on falling and falling and falling and falling. And I'm just thinking, wow, if the acid was really that powerful, yeah, there'd be a huge hole in the ship, and everyone would be dead.
they actually have something like that in Aliens, where they find like a hole, and you know, knowing the context of Alien, you know, it's this is probably the acid blood, and they look down the hole, and it just goes on and on and on.
It goes on for like several floors.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I know a couple of games and comics and stuff do that too, where it's like, that I know one game in particular. That's how they try to explain why the alien bodies disappear, is that they bleed through the floor.
Yeah, the Alien vs Predator shooter games do that.
Yeah, where
they
it's
decompose, where it's like they basically burn up or melt. Really, not burn.
All right, and so I'm just gonna ask you guys. So, you know, be perfectly honest here. Me personally, I kind of prefer Alien over Aliens, but just because I'm a huge horror fan. But you know, no judgment here. Which is your favorite of the two? Starting with Jay.
Got to go with Aliens, with the plural, because that was the one that I was introduced to. But even if I take off the nostalgia goggles, I really like how the character development was done in there. I like that they put more lore into the actual alien mythology, especially the thing with Ripley putting the flamethrower in there. It adds a little bit more depth to the alien mentality, or whatever you want to call it. And of course, come on, I'm not judging you, man. I'm not judging you or anyone else who plays Alien. But that whole part with the power loader and versus the Queen was just too freaking cool.
He's not wrong. You're not wrong.
I mean, we all know that. Even if you've never seen the movie, you know the phrase.
Get away from her,
Get away from her, you bitch.
Yep.
It's just the way she says it too, and the way the Queen looks at her like, "What you say?"
I love how the Queen reacts to that, as if she knows what bitch means. It's the most epic cat fight in sci-fi history.
I think that's the best cat fight ever.
Oh, it is.
I don't know any movie that's topped that, in my opinion.
I mean, because that's basically what it is. Ripley's just killed a bunch of the alien babies, and now the Queen aliens come in to kill her adopted child. It's a cat fight.
Yeah.
The Queen wants revenge.
Yep.
And had the Queen won, she was going to take her man Hicks and go impregnate him behind her back.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna steal your man too. Fucking.
Oh man,
that was a cold bitch.
Does that technically count as Ripley getting cucked?
I was gonna say, like, little did we know, Aliens was a potential NTR.
Yeah, that was a potential NTR, and then the third one is like NTR by death.
Episode.
And the third one is NTR by death, and then Ripley thanks the doctor. So 3 is kind of an NTR.
Oh God!
When you think about it,
nice.
From Hicks's perspective, it's like I died in the crash, and then Ripley screws Charles Dance.
And then Alien 4 is her completely broken because now she's literally become one of the aliens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God!
It's like she's a totally different person.
Yeah. Oh God! We just added a whole new context. No wonder Ridley Scott was like, "No, you killed it after the second one."
Well, I see why Neil Blomkamp was like, "We're not acknowledging that Alien 3 happened."
Well,
fucking Fox cut a trailer when there was no script. Yeah, Fox set a release date and cut a trailer when there was no movie.
Let's say that for Alien 3, because Alien 3 is going to be a hot topic here.
Oh God, yeah, that's going to be a.
Oh yeah,
Alien 3. So that was Jay. So now, Edgy, what do you prefer, Alien or Aliens?
I flip flop on these because as a kid I liked Aliens more, but watching Alien again, it's like I like the horror and because Alien is legitimately scarier in the first one, and you can tell that like the sequel kind of changed some things about it, but it doesn't do it in a way where it breaks things. At least in my opinion, some people would argue it did, but I don't think so. If you put on which one is more entertaining to watch, I would probably say Aliens. but I kind of think Alien is a bit better in the sci-fi department for me. I don't know. I don't freaking know. That's tough.
Yeah, I think Alien is like a more high sci-fi movie where Aliens is still a sci-fi movie, but it's more action sci-fi.
Yeah.
Almost akin to Predator. I think it's got just a little bit more high art.
Yeah, it kind of feels like
Predator.
if you tried to do what Predator did, but with the Alien, it kind of feels like that in some areas, especially with the Marines, how they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna go in, we're gonna kick ass." It's like, no, we're not. At least not initially. No. And what's his name? Hudson say we're ultimate badass, and then he's the first one freaking the fuck out.
Game over, man.
Game over, man. Oh, this is great. They're gonna come in here and they're gonna kill us. Why don't you put her in charge? Bill Paxton's the most unlucky dude in sci-fi. He gets killed by a Terminator, he gets killed by a Predator, and he gets killed by an alien.
Yep.
Like he's the only person I think that's been killed by all three.
He's the Jon Snow of the sci-fi area, isn't he?
He really is. Yeah.
Every sci-fi franchise villain just goes up and stabs Bill Paxton.
Either that or he's the Sean Bean of sci-fi movies, because Sean Bean dies and everything.
Oh, that's what I meant, Sean Bean. Sorry.
The alien walks. The Terminator walks up and punches him in the gut, and it's like, damn it, for Skynet. The Predator comes up and stabs him for honor. And the alien comes up and stands up for the hive.
Basically for the queen. And Bill Paxton's like, what the fuck did I do, man?
Oh god, the aliens are the ultimate simps.
George Lucas stabs him for the money.
I kind of want a Sean Bean to be in a movie where the whole joke is he gets put in situations where he should die. And like they do fake deaths, and then he just shows up like nothing happened.
Ooh,
they keep going,
Final Destination with Sean Bean.
Yeah, except he doesn't die.
Well, I know they did something like that in Alien. God damn it, Hitman 2, where he's an elusive target, and his whole gimmick is that he fakes his death multiple times, where like people try to take him out and assassinate him, but he always just comes back.
Wait, they actually put Sean Bean in Hitman?
Yeah, and he's playing like a assassin who he's been like the ICA, which is the agency in Hitman. They've assassinated him like a dozen times, but he keeps coming back. And so now it's like, all right, this is not enough of this man. 47, deal with him.
It's funny.
They could also do it in a way like Hot Tub Time Machine. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember vaguely.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah, the part where the guy
surprisingly good.
One guy almost looks like he's about to lose an arm.
The
and it gets
handman.
like so ridiculously close.
The handman.
Like, it's about to happen. It's about to happen, because they know that in the future the guy loses his arm and he's insanely bitter about it. But in the past, because Hot Tub Time Machine, he's like a really friendly guy, very down to earth, but very talented. And every time it looks like he's about to lose his arm because of accidents, fate, or just stupidity, he doesn't lose it. It's just like, and every time he doesn't lose it, everyone's like, "Oh, come on!" And I'm just thinking, I can see a whole Sean Bean movie being like that.
Yeah, no, that would be perfect. That would be a perfect Sean Bean. Sean Bean type
Sean
scenario.
Bean must die.
If he does.
Sean Bean versus Mr. Bean.
I mean, he actually held up a sign saying "Don't kill Sean Bean." So he's aware of the meme.
Bean lives matter.
Yeah. Save the bean.
I think there was one oh wow. I think there was actually a moment where he was in a bar and I think he got stabbed or like really seriously hurt, and he didn't die in that situation. And I have to verify that, but I think there was an actual bar fight that he got seriously hurt, but he did not die.
This is a completely side tangent. This is like, I'm sorry to anyone watching this looking for Alien, but I'm about to have a real side tangent. What if he's made like some kind of deal with the devil, where it's like, I'll let you live, but you gotta die in almost everything you're in. Every time you die in something, you add an extra like couple of years to your life.
I mean, that seems like a fair trade, honestly. Like, you just gotta pretend to die in a movie, and you get an extra life.
Would be funny if it turns out like all those stunts, those death stunts, were like actual like
attempts
in Lord of the Rings.
Life.
Lord of the Rings, no, he was actually getting shot by arrows.
Yeah. Yep, I just found the article. Yep, he was stabbed in in a London bar fight.
Damn.
No, of course, London.
My
of all
God.
Of course, it's
places.
London with the stabbing.
Yep.
America, we shoot you.
So,
Oh yeah.
Has Sean Bean been born in America?
Actually, he got stabbed for a pretty good reason. According to this, and again, this is what I'm reading. Witnesses told the paper that Bean, 52, and model April Summers were smoking outside the bar that they were at when passersby made lewd comments about her, and Bean chased them down the street.
Oh.
The man returned to the bar later that evening, spotted Bean outside again, and attacked him. The actor was reportedly punched in the face and stabbed in the arm with broken glass. Despite the injuries, Bean decided not to go to the hospital. Instead, he accepted first aid and then ordered another drink.
Damn, that's kind of boss, though. You get stabbed in the arm. It's like, give me another drink.
Sometimes, like, I'm not trying to take away from it because that is a pretty badass thing. But sometimes I feel like when celebrities are in situations like that, they sit there and think, what would sound cooler? What would be the cooler thing? Because they know this story's going to get out there. Like, he's like, you know what if I just stay here and just have another drink?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that's fair. I can't imagine someone doing that.
I mean, it's not like which Roosevelt was it where he got shot, like, and still goes up on
Theodore.
stage, gives a speech, and starts mocking the attempted assassination.
Yeah, that was Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted was savage. It's like, yeah, you tried to kill me. I'm gonna mock the shit out of you. You're trying to kill me.
Hey, I got an idea for you guys. Teddy Roosevelt versus Alien versus Predator.
Ted wins.
Ted joins the Predators, becomes their leader.
No, you know what to do? You know what happens? The Predators just respect him. They give him like the equivalent of Predator boxing gloves. They just like enhance his punches, and then he boxes an alien. He just starts punching the shit out of some aliens.
Blood gets on him, but doesn't burn him. Not to the way it thinks. They think it.
Like it just singes his mustache a bit, and that's it.
He's like, my mustache. I was in need of a trim.
And he just calmly adjusts his glasses after punching the shit out of an alien for like a few minutes.
All right, so back on the subject.
How about you?
Sorry.
Before no, I'm sorry because
that'd be fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. That'd be fucking hilarious.
Oh shit.
Someone needs to draw. Someone who's good at drawing, please draw that.
Here, Soggy, I'm gonna add your. You want me to add it or what?
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, add the screen. I can actually start drawing that. For me, it's Alien. I like I said, the art in Alien drips really hard. I love the miniatures in Aliens, but yes, I drew sexy Roger dressed as Sigourney Weaver and sad Sigourney from Alien 3.
Oh wow.
Sigourney and Alien 3 needed a hug.
Yeah, well, yeah, she had
everyone in that movie needed. No, actually, let me not say that. Not everyone in that movie. Some people in that movie needed a hug.
Yeah, the people who were in prison
Theodore
for
Roosevelt, you said?
reasons.
Yeah, it was Theodore or Ted, whatever you want to call. I don't know why I said his full name, but it's just Ted.
Yeah.
The one who looks like Eggman.
Yeah, he does look like a buff Eggman.
All right. So, Soggy, before we move on to anything else, so what's your preference of movie, Alien or Aliens?
Alien. I think because of the Geiger art, I'm more familiar with Alien compared to Aliens. I do like Aliens, but I don't know. Just I get more entranced by Alien. Like I just end up just staring there with my freaking mouth wide open, like I'm fucking stoned. Aliens, I don't seem to have. It doesn't hypnotize me the way that Alien does. Alien is damn near hypnotizing to me.
I think a lot of that has to do with like the mystique that Alien kind of gives you, because, like I said earlier, like there's really not much. There's no real backstory to the Xenomorph. It's kind of like it's this thing just kind of came out of nowhere. In Aliens, it's kind of still it sort of has that, but not to the same extent. There's more ambiguity, so I feel like there's a lot more for you to kind of like get lost in Aliens, but not to take away from Aliens, because there's still plenty to get lost in as well. But it is a bit more straightforward in what it is, as opposed to having the ambiguity that Alien has. I'm trying to think. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to bring up about aliens. We talked about the life cycle. We talked about like, let me see. While I'm looking that stuff up, was there anything you guys wanted to add about aliens?
Trying to think. Is there? Which version do you guys like better? The special edition, that's like the longer one, or the theatrical one?
Oh man,
It's been forever. I can't give you a.
Yeah,
I can't give you a
The extended
preference.
one is the one where they actually bring up Ripley's daughter. They also actually show the colony, and you see Newt's parents. Like they're the ones that find the ship.
So I do prefer the special edition, mainly for the colony scene, because I kind of like how it introduces it to me. Because it always seemed weird to me that like the colony had been living there for years, but just never ran into the aliens. So the special edition introduces how that happened. It's just they simply never ventured that far out until someone told them, "Hey, go venture out and find out what's there." And
Damn
then
it,
boom.
Bert.
God damn it, Burke.
Oh, Burke. I was about Burke. Burke.
But yeah, like to me, I kind of prefer the special edition because of that extra context. Because to me, I don't want to say that context is needed, but it helps. The only downside I will say this, and this might be a hot take, because I do love Alien Isolation. I love that game.
Oh yeah, I like that game too.
However, Ripley's daughter did not need to be in Aliens, especially considering it went nowhere other than her relationship with Newt. But you don't necessarily need the context of her daughter to understand her relationship with Newt either. But that's just my opinion on that part.
That's fair. I kind of think that maybe they're I don't know if they're still going to do this because I don't know what's going on with the rights because Disney owns them now. What I thought they were going to do with Alien Isolation is in a sequel. I thought they were going to do is say that, it turns out Bert and the company were lying about what happened to her. That like there was more shit going on that, they noticed she encountered the alien and she maybe did something.
My God, because I'm trying to save it for when we get to the comic book section, which is going to be after this. But my God, Ripley's daughter, her whole storyline, I don't want to say it's bad, but it gets to be an outright mess.
In the comics, you mean?
Immediately after Isolation, it becomes. I don't want to. I'll wait till the movie, but I'll wait till we get past Aliens. But my God, it becomes so.
Because I know they had that weird Five Nights at Freddy's style mobile game that just seemed kind of weird, and it's like, why didn't you guys just do something else with this?
Yeah, but oh God, it's such a mess. Everything past Aliens is a mess. That's a spoiler alert for the stream. Anything past Aliens, just know it was a mess to make.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, again, this might have been like an 80s and 90s thing, but for a while, anything past 2 or the second movie was usually going to be junk. We saw this with Aliens. We saw this with Predator, and of course, Alien versus Predator. I guess
I would say Predator 2, Predators, and AP were at least all right. Like they weren't god awful. Then you got the Predator. That's where it got real bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think the Predator really kind of screwed
the Predator's where it went to shit.
But to be fair, Predators, the time difference between Predator 2, AVP 2, and Predators is so wide. Like I feel like, it kind of escaped that cycle, that curse.
That's true.
The curse I'm talking about too is like Terminator as well.
Yeah.
Like after Terminator 2, everything was complete shit.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that. Okay. I did kind of like Salvation.
Oh my God,
I did
the
like
rights
Salvation,
issue with that.
Yeah, Salvation at least.
Yeah,
tried to
I
be
found out.
More
yeah,
than just T2 again.
I found out that the rights kept being rebought by different people, and every time there was a new owner, the new owner was going to make a new trilogy, and every time it fucking failed.
Are we talking about Terminator?
Yep, and then I think that the most recent one basically killed the entire franchise because
pretty much
bad.
I'll say this, and again, this is a side thing again, but I'll say this: I think Terminator Genesis is worse than Dark Fate.
Ooh, now that is the
Oh,
same.
Don't
yes.
get me wrong.
I
Yeah.
Don't
haven't
get me
I
wrong.
haven't actually seen Dark Fate because I just looked at the trailer and I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in this.
Don't get me wrong. Dark Fate is bad,
It's okay.
but I think Genesis is worse. I think, and the reason, well, okay, I
Yes.
won't go into it because that's a whole nother topic. Because that's probably that's a whole nother stream in and of itself, right there. Is Terminator.
Gotcha.
But back to the
Yeah.
alien thing, though. I'm trying to remember where we left off. God damn it.
I think we were just finished talking about
Two.
Alien 2.
Yeah. So after 2, so this is where things get really weird for the Alien franchise. So following 2, Alien 3 didn't come out till like the 90s, 92. Yeah,
Mhm.
1992. However, in between that time frame, instead of doing like a direct sequel, instead what they ended up doing was doing like they did with A Route of the Predator, in that the sequels were done but in comic book format. And so the first few, like,
Nice.
actually no, it's a lot, because like for Predator, the first 3 main arcs are direct sequels to the Predator film, Predator 1. However, Alien, pretty much like for years, like the entire Alien series was just a continuation from Aliens, and it starred Newt as a young adult, and I'm saying Hicks, right? Hicks.
Always
Which
get
one?
Hicks and Hudson mixed up, but
Yeah,
it
Hicks.
was
Which happens in the movie. Damn it.
Hudson. I think is Hudson's the one that lived through Aliens. I think.
It's Hicks. Hicks is Michael Biehn. Excuse me. Yeah, Hicks is the one who lives. So yeah, the comic follows the story of Hicks and Newt years later, and basically like they're still trying to stop Weyland Yutani from getting the hands on the aliens. I can't remember what happens to Ripley. I know she does show up later in the comic, but I can't remember why she's not there initially.
I know they later on they retconned Ripley into being it was an android the whole time.
Oh God, there's so
Because
many
Alien
retcons.
3 came out and it completely derailed their whole the comic storyline.
Yeah, so what happened was like they start with these comics, and they're pretty kind of straightforward. There's nothing too outlandish about them other than the fact that Ripley's not there. It's several years after the events of Aliens, and they're still dealing with the aliens and xenomorphs and stuff. I do know at some point in time, they eventually greenlit Alien 3. And, since Alien 3 is going to be the direct sequel, and the story is what the story is, they had to retcon so many things with the comics. And at some point in time, they did like a massive reprint of the entire Alien comic line where they retroactively change the entire story in the sense that like it's no longer following Newt and Hicks. It's now 2 completely different characters. Like if you were to go back in time to the first day the Alien comic book came out, the sequel to Aliens comic came out, you'll see they'll refer to him as Newt Hicks. After the whole retcon, even today, like any kind of like collected editions of the comics, they'll have the new characters' names. The story's pretty much the same. It's just 2 completely different people.
It's just totally not Newt and Hicks.
I think they even changed like their hair colors too.
That's funny.
Hoot and Nix. Hoot and Nix. That's the new characters. Hoot and Nix.
God, it's such a weird like bit of history to it because it's like, and even like because I was gonna buy like the Alien omnibuses because I bought the Predator omnibuses.
I think I have the first omnibus like for Alien Digital.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's like every printing after that change, it's all that. And it's one of those things where it's like when you first initially read it, it does seem kind of off because it's like, who are these people? Like the story kind of treats them as like you should already know who these people are. And then, like, you find out that context, like, okay, that makes sense. This is a really weird change. You kind of should have just rebooted the whole comic series, which, they kind of eventually did. But that God, that became an even.
Wasn't there a point in the comics where the aliens did get to Earth and it was like this huge war?
Yeah, Earth War, where God, the comics get so weird when it comes to Alien, because like, it's so weird because in the Alien comics, they don't. I know eventually they get into like the lore and the origins of the Xenomorphs, but they kind of skirt around it for so long, and it gets to a point where the only story you can really tell is just, the aliens eventually coming to Earth, which, at the time was kind of the story that they were going for. That was kind of like the penultimate story for those first few movies. Is like Weyland Yutani's trying to capture the aliens, and everyone knows that this is only going to be a disaster for people.
Yeah.
I do know they eventually have this arc called Earth War, which is, the Xenomorphs get on Earth and they pretty much decimate the whole planet. They're all over. There's people like
There we go.
somewhat surviving.
I gave Hoots some glasses because she got her name for her glasses because she's like an owl. Hoots.
It almost looks like Moot.
And they fight
I am
the
Moot.
Kind of.
Moots. Okay, it's Moots then. New character, Moots.
It's her sister.
So what
Yeah.
are our new original aliens? What do our new original aliens look like? Ooh, they got kissy lips. Yeah.
They kept
they got lips that
the
kiss you.
the alien. It was just it's like all of these people. They can't be Newt and Hicks anymore.
Yeah, the aliens. Well, the aliens. They sort of stay the same. Jesus. So back to the whole comics though, because like I don't remember. I think there is a conclusion to the Earth War storyline, but I do know that was later kind of scrapped in the reboot of the comics. Because I know for a while the comics kind of took a very similar route that the Predator comics did, in which it's kind of more of an anthology kind of story. The catch, though, is that despite being an anthology, there were references to other alien events. Like they were referenced like LV-426. They would reference Weyland Yutani, and they would kind of just take advantage of the fact that they were in space and you could be almost anywhere in space and kind of just justify that. Like, oh, the reason why you didn't hear about these guys is because they're on a space station on this side of the galaxy experimenting on aliens. Or here's a guy who crash lands on a planet that happened to have aliens on it. So
that makes sense.
I know one story that does. It's a really good comic, Aliens Labyrinth. And
is that the one with like the professor guy's like experimenting on the aliens?
Yes, and like I can't think. What is his name? I can't think of the character's name, but he's probably got one of the most, outside of like Ripley, he's probably got one of the most interesting and horrifying stories.
Oh, isn't he where he got taken by the aliens in the hive, but they didn't like infect him?
So
they did at one point.
Yeah. So what ends up happening in the story is that his family, they were part of like some kind of salvage crew. It was him, his mom and dad, a small crew of people, and their android. And basically, they were traveling to this one planet for like some salvage, and they get there, and there's like a ship already there, and they're kind of like, what's going on here? And as soon as they land, a bunch of Xenomorphs come up and grab all of them and drag them into the hive. And he's like, as soon as he gets in there, he can tell that the hive there's something weird about it. Because in this continuity, I know they kind of introduce it later, but the Xenomorphs kind of become like this well-known secret in the galaxy where people know they exist, but no one's ever really truly seen them. So like when they see them, it's like, oh, we've heard of these things. And so he's already like, something's not right here. Like you can tell like something's off. Like there's only a few Xenomorphs. The hive is like really like decrepit, and like there's just something off here. And so what ends up happening is that like the hive is like sick with some kind of infection, and they're not able to properly reproduce. So basically what the Xenomorphs are doing is like they're trying different experiments on the humans that they capture. Like there's one point where
just sounds like they're trying to make with humans.
Well,
Xenomorph's got some xenomorph porn and some KY jelly. It's like, all right, we're
but see,
gonna make
that's where it
we're
gets
gonna
creepy.
make the
Is
egg.
that like it doesn't ever really go that accurate that route that you think. It's like
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. If I remember
Oh, wow.
correctly, it doesn't
yeah,
go
they like
that route.
slaughter. They tear apart the android because she starts trying to fight back, but she's not like a combat android, so she gets destroyed. Then they like split up all the humans, and like basically like they drag them all. He dragged certain ones off to different places, but him recognizing something was off with the aliens, in order to survive, he started cooperating with them in the sense that if they needed him to do something, he would like do it, no questions asked. If they brought him some food to eat, he would just eat it. If they gave him some water, he would just drink it. And you could tell like the xenomorphs were trying to keep them alive to eventually try to
infect them.
infect him. But it's so terrifying. It's a lot of body horror to it in that like the xenomorphs like they like dump them in some like toxic waste to try to mutate them. At one point they try to get the humans to breed to make more humans to infect.
Oh,
That's messed
Yeah,
up.
it gets really fucked up.
It's such a crazy story, and that whole like what's crazy is that his backstory, his backstory is only part of it. There's a whole other context to it. Now, don't get me wrong, like the main story is good, but his whole backstory makes the comic. It's one of the most horrifying things you ever hear in an alien story, and some of the elements in there you can tell kind of help inspire Prometheus.
Correct me if I'm
Some of
wrong, but the guy who goes through all this,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
actually one of the antagonists, and he's actually the antagonist of the story too.
Mhm.
If I remember
Yeah, he's like the
correctly.
main villain. He's the main villain, but it's one of those where it's like you understand where he's coming from, and he like don't get me wrong, he wants to like he understands the dangers of the xenomorphs, but he spent so long with them, like he basically got to see everything. He had a deeper look into a xenomorph's life than anyone else in the galaxy. And it's such an interesting story to read, and it's oh god, thinking about it, some of the stuff they have in that story is just terrifying. Like, oh
the
god,
art's
I don't want to go
really
too into it.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Artwork's
art. I
fantastic.
remember seeing the art at a comic shop, and I wish I didn't have money because I would have bought like the comic. It was really, I was skimming through it, and then later I saw a video where someone was explaining the comic. That's why I even know as much as I did about it. And I was like, damn, I should have bought that when I wish I had money to buy that when I saw it.
Yeah, there it is right there. Oh my god, that cover alone reminds me of the story.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, that's
Dark Horse.
horrifying.
Yep, Dark Horse. They got some like again with the Predator series. Not everything's great, but when they have ones that hit, they hit. It's oh god.
I
But
remember
yeah,
they
like,
had a I remember when I got like because I had the DVD of Alien versus Predator. They actually had a little small like I'd say really small anthology. It was like probably about 20 pages of like short stories with aliens and the predators, and it was a really interesting one. You had a Marine who had a feud with a predator, and she called the predator Lefty because she shot his eye out,
yeah, I
his
remember
right
that.
eye out, and then he ends up saving her life from an alien.
Yeah, I remember that because like
I thought it was funny.
it's kind of weird because like in the Predator AVP comics became like I know I talked about this in the last stream where AVP kind of became like an excuse to explore Predator backstory, but the aliens kind of never get that treatment. They kind of get hints of it, but it's never too deep of a dive. So a lot of times the aliens are kind of just antagonists. That's all they are.
Yeah.
Another alien comic I wanted to point out that's not really in the it's sort of in the continuity is Aliens Salvation, I think it is,
Mhm.
where it's a group of like is obviously is a space crew, and what happens is they're transporting some cargo, and then their ship like gets under attack, and they're forced to crash land on this planet. They crash land, and
Ooh.
yep, that's it. And so what ends up happening is that
Mike Manella.
Oh, that cover
yeah, that's
looks,
it right there.
looks awesome.
That's it. And basically, what happens is
Oh
that guy on
my
the cover,
god.
he's the sole survivor of the crash, but it turns out the cargo was a couple of xenomorphs.
Oh wow.
Oh,
And the planet he lands on is basically like it's a giant ocean planet, and he's basically trapped on this tiny island with these xenomorphs, and he's basically trying to survive days, you know, from the xenomorphs. And it's really like it's not as like deep into like the alien like mythos or characterization. It's very much a story of just man
guy
versus
trying to
xenomorph.
survive.
And like, oh my god, like some of the things he has to do to survive.
Love my
It's one of those where it's like it's one of those where it's like you realize like in that situation how terrifying it would be. And I think one of the crutches is that like he's a very religious man,
That
and it's
explains the
kind of like,
title.
and it's supposed to be like, you know, he's in the future, so it's like a lot of religions are kind of like looked down upon, and especially for him to still be, I think he's like, I can't remember if he's Catholic or just Christian, but it's like in the context of Alien, like it's an in their universe, it's an even older religion for people to still kind of cling to. And so basically, the whole story has him like questioning his fate, like how could God create such horrific creatures, things like that. It's a really good story. It like again, it doesn't dive any deeper into the alien mythos, but oh god, it's a good horror comic, if nothing else. It's a very good horror comic. That's a sweet tattoo.
Oh, Mike Manella's art is amazing.
Oh, you talking about that
yeah,
alien
let me,
tattoo? Yeah, that is. That is a cool tattoo.
Mike's
I'm
art
not
is
gonna lie.
amazing.
But yeah, oh man, I remember reading that comic, and oh, I didn't know what I was getting into because I was just reading it online. I think back when I was in Cuba, I was reading it online one night on a night shift, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is terrifying. But
Let's see, let's find
yes.
one.
So yeah, like for a while, that's
Here's
pretty
one
much
of the
what the Alien
covers.
comics. Yeah, I think that's like the trade paperback cover. Like if you're gonna buy it, it's probably gonna be that cover on it.
I kind of like the other one more
one
with the tail kind of wrapping around, and it's like behind him.
Yeah, I think that's one of the issue covers.
Yeah,
This
I
one?
think I like that one. That one
Yeah,
I
that
like
one's
think it's
better.
the
better.
hardback. I think they also used this cover for the hard. They said there was a hardback version at some point. I think around 2015. Oh wait, here's a hardback version.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's the hardcover.
I'm sure you can find. Well, back then, I don't know about now, but back then you probably could find multiple different versions of it.
Woo!
It's probably got like
$95.
I don't need it that much.
Ooh, just
Yeah,
read
I
it
don't
on
know if
Amazon.
that's a little steep.
Comicology.
Just well, you know what that price might be. Now that Disney owns it, that's
eBay.
probably out of print.
Ooh.
It's probably out of print.
Oh.
Ah, shit.
Ooh, here's
Yeah.
another cover.
That's not as good, but it's still nice.
Love the
artwork's
biblical
nice.
art.
Well, yeah, because it's very like it's very. I don't want to say religious, but you know, it
has
dives
that
into
element to it.
It dives into because the guy's hardcore religious.
Oh,
like, the whole book is him like, my God, how could this happen?
Mike Manello is from Spain, so that I believe he does use a lot of Catholic imagery in his art. This is also the artist who did Hellboy and created the Batman animated version of Victor Freeze.
Hey, guys, keep talking. I'll be
very
right back.
influential.
Sorry.
Of course.
That art is sick.
I don't know
Yeah, it is
anything about the
pretty good art.
comics. Oh yeah. I don't know anything about this comic, but I know a little bit about this artist. I know he's worked in animation too, like I said, with Batman the Animated Series. And I believe he's originally from Spain.
And the last name kind of sounds like Spanish or Manila. That kind of sounds.
Hey! Stop that!
Oh, fighting with the
They're
cat.
beating the shit out of each other. Yeah, the cats were fighting each other.
Cats do tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, I have two of them. Oh, definitely. They're my two alpha bitches.
Fighting.
Not my cats.
Oh, what you want after her? Well, this is the first time they've left my room. In a few minutes, I'm gonna have to take a break and cook some BTs, if you guys know what I mean. But I'll stay here while Mordor's not here. I always keep calling him Mordor. Damn it!
That's where they go.
I mean,
Anyway.
that's where he's from, so it's not. At least it's somewhat accurate. I mean, at least you didn't call him. At least you didn't call him Darth Vader or something. I don't forget.
Daddy. Oh God! When I kept calling Slim Daddy.
I mean, it's in his name to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
You know what? Another alien comic that eventually grew on me that I wasn't too happy with at first because basically if you see my Twitter, you know what I'm about. So it was Vampirella versus Aliens, and I was a little disappointed at first because I didn't see the outfit, but rereading it a second time and also getting ready for the stream, I hate to say it, and I really hate to say it, but I guess it kind of made sense for not showing the outfit the entire time because she was dressing the same way all the other colonists were, so I give it a little bit of a pass. But if anyone was interested in a different telling of the alien story, the Aliens versus Vampirella was pretty interesting because think about what happens to humans, but also that happening to these space vampires.
How would an alien impregnate a vampire because they're already dead?
Well, apparently it happened because
they're aliens.
The one that's eventually becomes the queen was ripped out of Vampirella, if I'm not mistaken, and bitch has wings. So if you thought that aliens were freaky before, imagine those things, but being able to fly.
So one thing that I do like about
that's the scene.
I have this comic. I read a while ago, and it's very because this oh god, excuse me. This goes into what I was going to say earlier when I was talking about the Alien Predator comics kind of take a very similar route in their anthology series, and the way they're kind of in an anthology is that they kind of get utilized mostly as villains or antagonists in a background story. There's another story happening, but the alien or predator are thrown into it and add that extra what you call it,
that extra element, I guess is
but basically that even alien salvation that we were just talking about is that it's basically a story about a guy surviving stranded on an island, but now there are aliens there. And so a lot of the alien comics kind of, especially the later ones after the continuity got all sorts of messed up, kind of take that route. And so that's where a lot of these versus comics and concepts come into play. And while a lot of them kind of work, even on surface level, they work pretty well because all it is just character versus thing that doesn't really have a backstory, and you don't really need it to make it menacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Like I said, look at that picture. That is.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
And one thing that's crazy is that that's not the first appearance of a flying alien queen.
Mm-hmm.
There's an alien arcade game where
Oh, you're talking about I think it's called, I forget what it's called. But there's you're right. There is one. It's one of the ones where you have that you actually aim the gun.
Yeah, it's an actual rail shooter.
And I
one of
remember
the
that
Queen
one.
variants.
I think it's called Armageddon. I think it's called Alien Armageddon or something like that.
Armageddon or not Extinction.
Extinction is the RTS one.
I'm gonna look it up real quick, but it's basically they have all sorts of weird alien types, and this is one of them. But it's this one is definitely more vampiric because I think even this one has a crazy healing factor. Aliens Extermination, that's the one.
Exterminate, okay.
And that one has a flying alien queen, and I'm pretty sure this comic version was probably inspired by that, at least in the sense that if this was birthed out of Vampirella, it should look something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, here's a picture of, I don't know, let me see if I can. I'm gonna share it real quick just to show it, but
that's kind of something I'd like to see more in alien movies, is the idea of the alien gets into something we in fact something we just haven't seen before, and it makes the alien have abilities. It's like, yeah, they didn't do that before. Well, they normally don't do that, and so it's kind of, new.
Well, didn't they do that in Prometheus?
There
Or
you go.
didn't like one of the aliens affect one of those big frickin' things? And
Yeah, they did, but then remember, they never went anywhere. It was like an end movie thing.
So yeah,
right.
with that, oh my god, that's a whole nother mess. So yeah, the comic section of these streams are always gonna be probably the weirdest, most illy defined things there are, because like the comics go all over the place. But yeah, I know, like, oh god, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. So yeah, before we go to that specific point, I just want to finish with how, like, for a while the alien stories kind of just delved with them being just kind of not generic, but very
As
specific
monsters.
antagonist monsters and stories. It wasn't until, like, I guess you could say around Prometheus time, because even Alien vs. Predator wasn't really like a continuity to them. I think some of the concepts for AVP, like the movies, were meant to bridge the two series of Predator to Aliens, but it never got finished. So
Well, the AVP movies, yeah, they did that because they had the whole. I think that was the first one where they introduced the idea that the Bishop androids are based off of the founder of Wayland Industries. Because I know Ridley Scott hated that, and it was like, nope, that's not the case at all. I don't like that idea, even though I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, because I know I said this with the Predator stream, but
although actually 3 kind of did that too. They kind of played around the idea with the other bishop that was there. He's like, no, I'm the one who made him.
But then that one they kind of like introduced that was the real Carl Bishop Wayland.
But then it's like they kind of don't 100% confirm it, because in the credits he's just Bishop too. So everyone's like, is he actually this guy, or is he an android double?
Android, like, so I think someone said, like, what if he's just a more advanced android?
Or what if he's an android that thinks he's Wayland?
Oh, that's
and the real Wayland, it's like a body double for Wayland. That's actually a neat idea, honestly.
There's a lot of concepts you could explore.
That's kind of genius, though, when you think about it.
But see, that's the other problem that we kind of get to with Alien Covenant. But just to finish with the comics, though, I do know at some point in time around Alien Isolation's release, they kind of remix into a whole new continuity where they start following Amanda Ripley, which is Ellen Ripley's daughter. And so I know the first arc features some other chick. I think her name is Zula or something like that. Some colonial marine who stumbles upon the alien existence and Weyland-Yutani trying to steal them. And so she teams up with this combat android, and basically their mission, they're trying to just stop Weyland-Yutani from capturing the Xenomorphs. And they go on like a lot of these like I guess you could say like terrorist pirate missions where they try to like destroy like their efforts and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. The only problem is it does seem kind of like everywhere, in the sense that like they kind of seem to just jump back and forth to stuff, and it's kind of like you're telling me this one android and this one colonial marine are fighting the entire Weyland-Yutani efforts to capture the Xenomorphs. To me, that seems like...
Is this still Dark Horse?
This is still Dark Horse.
Okay.
This is still Dark Horse continuity. So, it's all right. It's not great. And I do know eventually they introduce Amanda Ripley as a main character, and it's after Alien Isolation. So this is like the closest thing to a sequel you're going to get to it.
Aside from the mobile game.
Yeah, aside from that shit. But I never read some of those later ones because like the first initial Alien arc just wasn't hooking me, so I wasn't really that invested into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly where it goes. But one of the things that it really issued with me was that like, and it goes back to my issue with Alien with the inclusion of Ripley's daughter, because at first it's like, oh, she just grew old and died. Now it's like her entire fighting freaking Xenomorphs. Like
the entire family, the family business.
Like, yeah, she basically turned it into a family business. She had more encounters with Xenomorphs than her mother. Not including Alien Resurrection, because
that's a bit ridiculous that she had that many.
Oh yeah.
Because Alien Isolation, the mobile game, and all the comic arcs where she doesn't just like run into him occasionally. Like I know at one point she straight up like they crash land a ship that was kidnapping people, and they end up like nuking the ship to destroy all the aliens. And you're telling me this woman, this one tiny person we saw in a brief moment in a director's cut, had this much experience with the Xenomorph?
Had this much
Come
impact.
on. Yeah, come on now.
You know what I thought was gonna? You know what I was thinking they were gonna do?
What?
I was thinking because at the end of Isolation, like it ends with you being in space and you see a ship flying by. I was like, that's a whaling ship, ain't it?
Yeah.
And they were just gonna lock her up or something or make up so you blew up the colony with a station or whatever. They were just gonna imprison her, and that was the cover. Was she died, and it's like, no, we imprisoned her.
I think what the explanation ended up being was that like Weyland Yutani like essentially cut her a deal in the sense that like we're not gonna pursue you, and you're not gonna say shit about the alien because no one's gonna believe you.
I mean, to be fair, no one would believe that.
I mean, no one does because she's literally the sole survivor of that whole station.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that was my biggest issue with some of that later continuity with aliens, and it's not really aliens' fault. It's more the comics that later followed the game, the new continuity. Is that you're telling me this essentially this random side character that's not even in the main theatrical cut of the film had this much of an extensive history with the Xenomorphs?
I mean, it can't be worse than Aliens Colonial Marines, where it's like, yeah,
Hicks, he just didn't get on the ship.
Yeah, no, that wasn't Hicks. He stashed someone else's body in there. And it's like, I'm
lawsuit
okay
game.
with... Yeah, I'm okay with Hicks being alive. It's just, damn, you need to give a better reason than that. He just stashed a different body in there.
Yeah, it's like they try too hard to have Hicks be in the game while trying to keep it.
And he sounds bored as hell in it too, because he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I remember I saw something saying like, what if they tricked him? Because like he was one of those guys, he was like Sigourney Weaver, where he liked the character, he was enthusiastic about it, and it's one of the reasons why he didn't show up for Alien 3, because he saw what they were going to do to his character, and they barely got him to do that.
Yeah, and he got pissed at David Lynch about David Lynch about it for using his likeness or whatever, and I think he tried to sue him. And then he later regretted it because he was just like, yeah, I didn't realize he was going to be this big of a filmmaker.
Well, I think also he kind of realized that like it wasn't really
his fault.
His fault. It was really the studio's fault.
Yeah, it was their script. He couldn't really do anything to it.
Yeah, it was
not David Lynch, David Fincher.
David Fincher. I'm sorry. I always get them mixed up.
That happens.
David
I
Fincher.
get them mixed up. Sorry, Lynch. Sorry. Sorry.
But yeah, like
sorry, Elephant Man and Twin Peaks.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There's one more comic I want to get into, but I'm going to wait for a little bit later because it's essentially a reboot in and of itself again, and it would make more sense once we get to like the Prometheus side. But Fincher. Now we segue into what's probably the messiest alien movie ever made, Alien
3. Actually, that is kind of an interesting one to kind of get into.
I'm gonna be honest. I hated the movie when it came out, but that's because I didn't know all the bullshit that went around it. And then looking at that, I was like, yeah, this movie. It's amazing this movie was half as decent as it was, given all the shit that was happening. I'm amazed you got a movie even this decent.
Yeah, because I remember
please tell people.
I'm pretty sure I watched the director's cut because
I haven't seen the director's cut, but I've seen someone talk about the differences.
I think the director's cut is I might be wrong here.
Well, technically, it's not the director's cut because Fincher said it's like, yeah, there's no director's cut. It's just the assembly cut is what they call it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even get to cut his own version of the film.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, God, I remember that.
Because that's how fucked up the whole situation was.
I shafted when it came out. I'll just call it the extended cut.
Yeah.
Whichever one has the ox in it.
Yeah, that's the assembly cut.
Yeah, that's the extended cut. I saw that one, and like rewatching it now, having the context, like I said, having the context of what was going on behind the scenes, it's not that bad in the sense of like it's competent enough. It's a lot of the story elements and a lot of like story moments that really screw the movie over. One thing I will say is that I like the dog alien, the runner alien. I thought it was a pretty
Go
unique
motion
design for
animation.
Yeah. I think it looks weird now, but I don't think it's that bad. I think it's one of those more like a retrospective kind of things where it's like
there's some shots where it looks fine, and when they got up close and they're using a suit. But any scenes where it's like running, like you can just clearly tell it's like this thing is superimposed on here.
yeah.
It kind of took me out of it at points in some of the scenes.
Yeah, like I said, it's not great, but it's good. It's good for if you accept what it is, you could say. Yeah, I like the runner alien.
And I know there's video of a dog wearing a suit. I just found a GIF of this thing.
Oh, I think I remember seeing
So
that.
is that a shot? Is that go motion or is that a dog? I also know
I can't
they
really
used some
see it.
early CGI too.
A lot of it was like they had these puppets and then they would like superimpose them in over like a blue screen or using blue screen. I think is what they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No.
it's really.
I will give this movie credit. It did, even though the first movie kind of implied this. This is the one that confirmed that's like, yeah, the alien takes characteristics from whatever it infects. So,
Oh yeah, like that. Okay, so I was reading into this, and so apparently the concept was born essentially from this film, because in the comics that came out before it, they had xenomorphs infect other living things, but they all came out like the traditional xenomorph. It was this movie that introduced the concept of if the xenomorph is impregnating another animal, it inherits those kind of traits.
yeah.
Which, we all know now is like something that the comics and other expanded media would kind of just run away with for, good reason too.
This
It's
is how we
pretty
get
cool
Predator aliens.
Oh yeah.
Which I like the Predator alien idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool.
Predator alien concept is
Okay,
really
there's
cool.
a man in a suit.
Yeah, they use a guy in a suit for like close ups.
Here.
But when it's running, it's
Oh,
a puppet.
So that's not it's not quite go motion. You're right. That's more of a puppet. It's not go.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was go motion, but it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're
probably
right.
just,
This
like,
is more
edited in
puppetry
later.
with the.
That's what they did
puppeteered out.
because they had like a blue screen and they would you can see it right
Here's,
there. They blue
Oh, yeah.
screen it in and they delete all the rods and stuff and like insert it into the film. And the problem was it doesn't look very good.
Like that movement alone, that little bit of walking, that was pretty fluid. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
fluid, but it's just when you look at it in the movie, I think it's because it's not at the same. They're not recording at the resolution at the frame rate we're seeing it, or something.
Yeah.
Because I think they said they had to speed it up in post or something.
Post-production.
Also, interesting thing I learned about watching a review for the about the other cut of the movie. The guy who did the novelization of Alien 3, he was so upset at the idea of killing Newt that he didn't kill her in the book version. And it turned him off of doing movie novelizations ever again because he was so upset about that. Fox was really pissed about him about that.
The true hero of the Alien.
The true hero of the Alien.
They had like 12 different versions of the script where there was one version with robot animals. There was one version with a wooden spaceship.
A wooden world thing with the space monks.
Yeah.
That was at one point the monks were able to get a xenomorph out of Ripley by like hitting her chest or something.
Yeah, they surgically remove it. There's like originally
there was one
supposed to be like a monks kind of thing where it's
that
like
was the monks. Yeah, they
technology on the planet, not real advanced technology.
They shunned technology somehow, even though they built a planet out of wood.
There was the Seven
somehow.
Dwarf story. There was one inspired by Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
Yeah, so Alien 3 went through a lot of like
and Peter Pan.
There was one that was kind of interesting, and the idea was because at this point I don't think they knew if Sigourney was going to come back, but they were going to have it be Hicks and Bishop, and it was going to be on a space station. It was going to be 3 aliens, and one of them was going to be just the one from the first movie, like that particular alien, but like a more powerful version of it. And apparently there was gonna be a scene where it rips one of the other aliens in half or something.
It reminds me
Like,
of
what the fuck?
Jaws:
Bigger
The Revenge.
Bigger
Jaws,
aliens.
basically. Bigger aliens.
Jaws.
And apparently there was gonna be this whole thing where like, so we had the Colonial Marines, but there was gonna be like future Soviet Russia in the movie or something. And
Yeah,
like the station was occupied by them or something, and they had to team up to kill the alien or something like that. And then Ripley's supposed to wake up at the end, but there was like something wrong with her pod and they couldn't get her out of it. To kind of that was like their plan in case they couldn't get Sigourney Weaver back. We'll just have her stay in the pod. We'll just have her stay in the pod. Like, to be fair, yeah, that's probably the only way to do that. Yeah, there's a puppet.
Yeah,
coming at you. Gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you, my little claws.
I'm gonna get you, my little claws, my little mouth.
My little inner mouth.
Hey, what are you doing? Get back in there.
Get back in there. I'll let you know when we eat, sir.
Personally, I think I'm more of a fan of the Spaceball one. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my rat.
John Hurt's laying on the table.
Not again.
Did they get the same actor for that too?
Yeah,
I think they did. Yeah,
it's literally him, and that's the whole reason why he says not again.
You know there was another interesting thing about Alien 3. So the studio actually reached out to Giger, was like, hey, can you come up with another alien design? And the studio told him, was like, we want a sexy alien. That's their actual line. And so he designed one with human lips and like woman proportions. And the idea was it would like attach to your face like it's kissing you, but then the inner mouth would come in and like rip through the back of your head. And the studio didn't like it, but they liked the little one. Another design he had, which was supposed to be if it came out of like an animal, and it was like the alien you see is based off of what the chest burster for an alien coming out of an animal was supposed to be. Because there actually is another version of that where it's bigger and like armored looking, but it's still on all fours. They didn't use that one; they just used the chest burster version and just made it the adult version.
Can I talk about Geiger's hatred of the of Alien and what it did to his career?
Oh, he actually hated it?
Oh, wow.
I think he had like a retro perspective. Like, I think he doesn't hate the design, but he hates what they did with it later.
Yes. What happened was Geiger's art itself is very female and very sexy. So Geiger designing a female alien is actually more in line with his actual art. His main model is actually his wife. He talked about how after he did Alien, he got all these job offers, but they wanted him to make big, bulky, ugly male aliens.
Which is not what he does.
He turned down so many jobs. No, yeah. That's why he loves the movies. That's why he loves the opportunity. Yep. And he actually bought. Yep. He did the kiss thing. He wanted to do the kiss thing in it. In that movie. I know he wanted it, but they didn't really do it right. And he hated the alien references in Species. I think he called the birth scene the chest birther.
And didn't they do the kiss scene? Because I specifically remember a scene of her kissing someone and her tongue literally at the back of his mouth.
Oh yeah,
his head. I remember that specifically.
He designed he had problems on Species because he really wanted to make a movie with a lot of his art when the studio really didn't want all of his.
Yeah, because you barely see the Giger monster like still in like full monster form. Like you only see it at the end, and it's like really bad.
He refused to design the boy baby. He refused to design the boy alien.
I remember there was a story where he really wanted to do and this is something he always wanted to do a demonic ghost train. Like he always wanted to do that for some kind of movie. And
I'd watch that.
In Species, like I think that was like part of the thing that got him on board is that they said they'll let him do it, and he
Yes.
designed this whole like it had like 3 skulls, and it appears in like one of the girl's dreams, but like it's only on screen for like a couple of
Yeah.
seconds, and he was so disappointed because he's like he said, this is something I've always wanted to do in a movie. I spent all
his
this
real
time
money.
making it, and they only used it for like a couple of seconds.
He took
that's
it on
kinda-
art tours with him. I'll
Yeah,
show
it's
you
like
some of he
Yeah, I
created
recognize
so much for the movie and they used like nothing. They barely used his stuff. But he
There it
loved the
is.
Sill animatronic to the point. Yep. He loved the Sill animatronic to the point where he commissioned the artist who made it to make him a second
that
one
looks awesome.
that was in his that he owned to his death. Yeah, here's some of his Ghost Train art.
Yo,
He
that
loves
is
Ghost
awesome.
Trains.
Oh, actually, I had a question about this. Speaking of this dude, that is so.
Yeah, I want to see
I don't know
that.
what
I
to
would
think
see
of
that
this.
in a
It's
movie.
cool
Oh,
and
yeah.
weird, but I love it. But what I was going to ask, and again, actually, Soggy or Sauron, or Edgy, if you know this too, please answer. Was he responsible for the human Xenomorph hybrid in
No,
Resurrection?
No,
I don't. He was not.
No.
no, he wasn't.
You know, that makes total sense.
No.
It did not look like his.
No, I hate that thing's design.
So,
I hate it.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish up Alien 3 just because I want to get
sorry.
to Alien Resurrection though, because like I mean, there's not really
Oh,
much
yeah.
to say. We kind of said it earlier in the stream is that Alien 3 was an absolute mess. Like the fact that it being made was
Oh, yeah.
greed, but I'm saying the fact that it became somewhat competent in any sense is a miracle.
Yeah.
One thing I will praise this movie for, Alien 3, is again with the alien design being unique, the concept of the aliens changing based on what creature they're birthed from. But one thing, and this always gets me, is in Alien 3, Charles Dance, aka Tywin freaking Lannister, he's set up to be pretty much like a main character. Like he's in the movie in the early half, like as a main character. Then he just dies.
Yeah, they just kill him off.
And brutally too. Like the Xenomorph just comes from a vent, picks him up through like a plastic sheet. Like it's behind the sheet, but it doesn't care to remove the sheet. It just grabs his head from there, crushes his skull, and bites through his head. And I'm like, holy shit! Like
shit.
Y'all
even
just
if you
killed
don't-
Charles Dance.
Like even from that alone, even if you didn't know who he was, the fact that it's like, oh, this guy's gonna be like a main character. He's like the new Hicks, right? He's like the new male lead, and
Yeah,
he
he-
just dies.
And he was the only one that seemed to like. Well, obviously he clearly liked Ripley because he banged her like in very early in the movie, but he was telling like they kill him right after he tells his whole story of how he was addicted to morphine or something.
Yeah,
and it caused
and
someone to get killed. I think is what he was saying.
Yeah, and like the whole movie sets him up to be this big lead, right? Like you expect him to be the next Hicks, the next like, you know, like and I think he's like even the only person who like remotely kind of believes her story.
Yeah, he
regarding the
believes her. At
alien.
least he seems to not think she's completely crazy.
Is this his death? Is this his death I'm
No.
actually looking
No.
at?
I don't know what
Oh.
that
I can't tell.
is.
I can't
It's
tell.
hard to
'cause,
tell.
like, his death takes place in a whole different room. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
I feel
hospital room.
It's just kicking him. He's just fucking kicking him.
I think it like
Get
kills him and then gets
Wake
in
up.
Ripley's face and then
Get
doesn't
up.
kill her and then just takes him takes his dead body up in the vent.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
where they introduced that's where the whole
Ew.
iconic like alien getting all up in her face, screaming while she's like,
Yeah, and
Freaking
drooling
out.
and she's like looking away like, okay, it's gonna kill me now.
which is probably like one of the most iconic
Oh,
shots,
yeah.
like still images from the entire series.
Yeah, it is.
Ironically enough, coming from
Yes.
that movie.
3.
I will say one
Well,
thing
these-
I really enjoy I don't say enjoy, but I liked in Alien 3 was how they killed Ripley because it made sense how she died.
Sort of.
Oh yeah.
How
Oh,
she
yeah.
died, yes. The fact that she was impregnated with an alien queen, that part, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, obviously the whole fact of how did the egg get there still bugs the hell out of me. It's like y'all don't ever answer this,
Yeah.
and we need an answer to that.
Butthole.
and they even introduced the concept of a queen facehugger.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
royal facehugger in the assembly cut that
That's
can
also
infect two
weird to
different.
say. The
It's a-
royal face hugger.
I mean, to be fair, the design of it is.
I actually really like its
insane.
design. It's just it's a shame we don't.
Soggy, do you mind pulling up a picture of a royal facehugger?
Yeah, it looks awesome, and the thing is, it can
Sure.
infect two. It can infect two.
Yeah,
implant
it can
two
affect
embryos
two
out
hosts.
before it dies.
It impregnates one with a queen and one with a regular xenomorph. Which
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there. Oh my
Ooh.
god, it looks.
Yeah, that thing
so,
is. I love his design. Like, I'm
That is
shocked
pretty
no
awesome.
one's used it again.
Oh, it's bigger.
Actually, no, I don't think it's ever really been used.
The closest we've gotten is in
Prometheus, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say in Alien vs. Predator Extinction, there's a Praetorian facehugger. It's just brown.
Yeah,
It doesn't have
I was
like
gonna
all
say,
that
like,
detail on it.
the games and the
Go to
expanded media.
this one where he shows it from like the front, like as it's standing. That looks really cool. It was further up.
Yeah, and
Here's
I
prop master.
I don't
holding
hate it, but like, when I say hate, I don't mean hate as in it's bad. I mean hate as in it.
Here we go.
Me out. The fact that it's got webbing.
Yeah, that's free. Yeah, that's freaky.
Oh yeah. Here's the.
Because that means it can like. I'm wondering if it's like a sugar glider and it like glides.
I was just thinking that. It's like, can you imagine that thing gliding at you?
Yeah, you turn around, this thing comes gliding 50 feet across the room.
Yeah.
Trying to get at your face.
It looks more mobile than any of the other face huggers.
Well, because that's another thing too. Is that
That's
the
because
technology
it's loyal.
designed, especially in 2 Aliens, but I know it got better as the movies progressed. Is that they were able to improve the movement of the face huggers.
Yeah.
So like that way, they made it seem like, okay, how does this thing get on you? And it's like, yeah, because it crawls like a freaking spider at you.
Which is terrifying.
God, look at that fucking thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah,
And it's
you do not want to go
huge,
near it. It's massive compared to the
I
normal one.
wonder
Like
if
That looks like. Yeah.
I wonder if we'll run into any of the face hugger footage in 3 with this test footage I'm going through for you guys.
Mate,
I wonder.
I don't think so. 'Cause I don't even remember the extended cut even having the face hugger move. I think they just
Yeah, they just find its dead body. They never actually show it doing anything.
and I think even its tail has like a blade too. Like it can.
Yeah, if you go
defend
back to the
itself,
image,
too.
it has a blade on the tail.
Now I
pretty
think.
sure.
Now I remember
Yeah, it
where
does.
now I
And it
remember
has
what
like
this
those. It has those
reminds me of.
extra claws at the front too. Like it could
This reminds
fight
me-
you if it wanted to.
Oh yeah.
This
Throwing
reminds me
hands.
of those
Oh, yeah,
like
nasty
crabs you would see in Australia. Have you seen
Yeah,
those?
Yeah, that's the Australian. That's the Australian face hugger right
I was
there.
about to say these are the Australian breed of xenomorphs.
It looks like a huntsman spider, kind of.
Oh
I think
god.
that's what it's called. I think it's a huntsman spider.
Yeah, the
That's
ones
one
that
in
hunt
Australia.
They
Big
eat
ass
birds.
ones in Australia.
Yeah. Oh my god, look at that
Things
thing.
are horrifying.
Yeah.
Throwing hands with that thing.
Ugh. Yeah, it is a huntsman spider. Those things are.
You want me to look up a spider?
Look
No,
up
please.
huntsman spider just to
Please.
give an
Oh,
example
God.
of what I'm talking about. Those huntsman spiders. If I saw that shit, I would burn whatever.
I'm gonna
living
look away
down.
from my own screen. From the own stream, just let me know when it's going. 'Cause I can't.
Yeah, that's in
so
Australia.
big.
Yep.
Yeah, if I
Oh.
saw that
Oh
in
my
my
God,
house,
remember
I
that
wouldn't have a
Peppa
house
Pig
for very
thing?
long. Yeah. Spiders are our
Remember?
friends unless you live in Australia.
Spiders won't hurt you.
Unless
Yeah.
you live in Australia, unless it's a black widow or a brown recluse, then yeah, you're gonna die. Well, I don't know if a brown recluse can kill
Yeah,
you,
they
but I don't know if
banned the
black widows
episode.
usually. I know they banned in Australia because it's like, no, you cannot tell kids this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't understand.
Yeah, no,
It's Australia.
Spiders will kill you.
I like the idea that like she says this, and it's like, who in their right mind would do this? And it shows the studio, and it's just a bunch of spiders. It's like now no one would suspect our propaganda.
Yeah, the spiders like we got to get the propaganda going.
Big episode was banned in 2012 because it taught kids that spiders shouldn't be feared.
No, you
Wow.
feel the Australian spiders at least they will fuck you up.
All
Well,
right,
to be fair, almost anything in nature in Australia will probably try and kill you, except
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
koala
Everything.
bears, and even that, I think
Magpies will try to kill you.
doesn't like koala bear
Hell, I think
claws have
that'll
some kind
work
of
for
like bacteria or some shit?
Australia.
yeah, they can defend
I-
themselves. They're not helpless. and
They're not cute and cut. Well, they are kind of cute, but they're not super cuddly.
They're not helpless.
Oh, they fight.
Yeah, koala bears, they're lazy as hell, but if you provoke them, they will mess you up.
It's
Yeah.
still a bear.
It rains freaking spiders there,
This guy-
so
Yeah. Oh, you should not have told me
This
that.
guy
I'm
is-
never going to Australia.
it's not
Guys.
spiders aren't dangerous, and it rains spiders from the sky.
Oh hell no!
My friends
This
are
I caught a-
coming.
I caught a puppeteer having a problem with the leg.
Oh,
Yeah, in this next scene, you'll see them, and it's subtitled. You'll see them fuck with. The knees give us this awkward running feeling to it. Look at the legs going. They can't
yeah,
get
that
the
looks
legs
kind of
moving.
weird. Watch for those plants. To be fair, I won't even begin to imagine how difficult it is to puppeteer or something like that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh god,
Because
yeah.
we're not going to go too into the Alien versus Predator, just because it's kind of already been talked about before. But I know, like, one of the big things about that movie is like the puppeteering for that. And just say what you will about Alien versus Predator, but at least they did their best when it came to the practical.
Oh yeah, like they did. There was a lot of
effects.
practical stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly,
Despite the alien design itself being very, like, I know they made the alien a lot smaller in that one. Like they're tiny
Oh,
compared
yeah.
to like
Yeah,
their
they
past
are.
versions. But to be fair, like it still looks pretty good for what it is.
well, you know what they did? They took the design from Alien Resurrection and just made
Resurrection.
them black.
Yeah, they reused them and made them darker.
Yeah, because in Resurrection they made them brown for some reason. I guess because they're supposed to be more human in them.
I think they were trying to make them more bug lookish.
Yeah, I don't know why they went away
Because
from
Yeah.
every time
black
I look
to
at the,
brown.
this is a good segue to Resurrection. Is that I know in Resurrection they always remind me of a giant cockroach.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, I
And
can see
I'm
that.
pretty sure that's intentional. But I know we talked about it before, but Alien Resurrection, Jesus Christ.
God.
Where Alien 3 was a mess, but at least it was somewhat competent. Alien Resurrection is like
With great people behind it.
it's
Crap.
just a mess. It's a mess through and through.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like the
Gee,
aliens really aren't even in it that much when you think about it.
No, they're really not.
Yeah.
Like there's like two
Not
action
really.
scenes with the alien, and then it just goes into the weird shit with the newborn thing. Which, if the movie wasn't bad up until that point, that derailed it. Because look at that thing.
Now,
Oh,
I will
wow.
say this. This
its
is my-
design was worse.
This is my controversial take.
There's another design that I don't think you want to look up because I'm pretty sure that probably gets you
I like
Yeah.
this.
banned.
Yeah.
I like this design. I like this.
It is what you see in the original.
And the reason why I like this is because it's so disgusting. It's got like a bunch of body horror elements to it. In my sense that it's like, because the aliens in and of themselves, like when you look at their faces, they have the human skull underneath it.
Yeah.
Like the original drone, it has a human skull. However, seeing this,
That's
it's
a
like
vagina.
don't get me wrong.
There's a worse version
That's
of it that has Soggy. There's a version. That's why I'm saying be careful with that.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's why I'm not looking at the
Overall-
other one because it's more detail.
Yeah, there's
Overall,
one that
this
it
is
has
not
like,
a good, like-
fusion of both.
I'm not trying to say this is objectively good. I like it though. I like its
I
creepiness.
hate this thing's. Okay,
And both of you have
It makes
very,
me think of
very valid
Pumpkinhead.
opinions.
there are some things I can kind of like. I almost like about it. Almost like if I look at it from the
Face.
chest up, I don't mind as much. The face would be fine if they didn't try to do this thing where it tries to
Emotes.
almost be cute and then it's like
Yeah.
still a
Baby.
monster, and it's like I don't
Oh.
like that
Oh.
because it's confused. It confuses
Wait,
me. It's
what
like, am I
was
supposed
it?
to be scared of this thing or?
Okay, let me try to remember. It's a beautiful little butterfly.
Yeah, it was so. I thought that was so dumb, and it was like, I don't know if they were trying to make it just psychotic, but it doesn't come off. It just felt like it was just
That was Chucky. That was Chucky who delivered that line.
Brad Dourif, right?
That was Brad
Yeah.
Dourif. Yes.
Yeah, he was-
Yes.
I think one
He
of
was
the
having
problems
fun with
is
that movie.
Like the movie doesn't. It doesn't even establish what the creature's tone is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's
Like,
inconsistent.
If they all
Yeah.
treated it like an abomination, like imagine if that thing came out and every character was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I feel like it might have been well received.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
you're not supposed to like its
no.
look. It's like this is an abomination of all things.
Well, hold on one moment. I mean, you might not be wrong. You might be right.
Yeah, that's the other thing that bugged me. It was like, why is this thing?
Tried to be nice to him, and she freaking smashed his head in. Smashed her
Yeah,
head
like
in.
she let
Oh,
it get
yeah.
sucked out through the vacuum of space, which is probably the most brutal death in the entire series.
Which is so weird because it's like
Yes.
it's a monster dying that has those brutal death. Like what?
Oh,
And I
there
will
he
say this though.
is.
I will
Here's
say this
Brad
though.
Dourif.
I will say this, like, and I don't want to speak objectively because again, like
Fair
this
enough.
design in itself is a very acquired taste. I think its death, like its final, like being sucked out in a vacuum of space. I don't know about
Fitting.
you, but for me, like even if I didn't like the creature up until then, I felt bad for it at that point.
Yeah, and that was the problem. It's like,
Oh.
why am I feeling bad for this thing?
Well,
Yeah,
because
like-
it wasn't asked to be born, and yet here, and basically everyone hates
But
it.
it's psychotic and murdering people for no reason, though. Like,
I mean,
it kind of doesn't work.
He only kills 2 people.
Well, he kills two because he kills Brad Dourif, who again wasn't doing anything to it.
Yeah, I know he
He-
crushes one.
What was
dude's
this?
skull.
No, you got a point.
Oh, that's when Ripley falls to the alien
remember this
hive, and
part?
that. Yeah, what the
Yeah.
hell was that? What the
Yeah,
hell was
Yeah,
he's
like
that?
part
what was
Xenomorph
the
now.
weird vibrating,
I think it was supposed to be
pulsating
them.
goo stuff? It was weirdly sexual.
I think they were supposed to just be aliens.
Yeah,
kinda
and where
like,
they?
Well, because this is a alien comic lore thing. Is that it's kind of implied that the hives are kind of organic, alive in a way. So
Okay.
I'm not excusing it, but I'm pretty
Wow,
sure
that's
that's what they were
so
trying to go for.
sexual.
And this
Yeah,
is well
the
after
whole
the
movie
comic
has
That
those
thing.
is
weird
so.
So
I mean, look at the scene where the Xenomorph is carrying her into the hive. It looks.
I mean, it's cradling
like
her.
it's
It's literally
humping
holding
her.
her
Oh, yeah.
like a child.
Oh
like, here
yeah,
you
look
go.
at this.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't come off as mother and child. It comes off as
That's-
horny.
Yeah, it's weird because like technically this thing is partially you.
Well, yeah, because
Ripley,
it
like-
rejects the queen
Yeah.
mother. It rejects the alien queen and then embraces her as the mother.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
Yes.
mother as in goats.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this
Yeah,
whole
and then all
movie
the
is a
weird-
goddamn mess. Like, and
And
I'm
then
trying
they
to
had
think
the
of
whole
weird,
stupid
weird.
thing with Wayland Yutani got bought out by fucking Walmart or some shit.
yeah,
Mhm.
like they're gone. They're completely gone, and now it's generic government military experimenting on the xenomorphs.
And it didn't make sense. Like, okay, the ship is programmed to go to Earth in the event of an emergency. Like, why the fuck was it built
Why?
like that?
And you know what's stupid? They're planning to destroy them. They're like, well, what we'll do is we'll let the ship crash into the Sahara Desert. That should kill all the xenomorphs. And I was like,
No,
that does not seem like a foolproof plan.
these things survive a lot of shit that they shouldn't realistically. No other thing would survive. It's like you really want to risk that.
Well, apparently it can survive the vacuum of space. So, in other words, it's a Frieza.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I don't
like-
think crashing the ship was gonna work.
Oh god,
Like-
Frieza. Well, Frieza is modeled after a xenomorph.
Oh yeah,
Kinda,
his
He
yeah.
turns
third
into one at
form-
one point.
his
Yeah.
third form
Yep,
is
that's Form 3,
is
if
a
I'm not
xenomorph.
mistaken.
Yep.
This
Form
isn't
3.
even my final form. I
Yeah.
can't do Frieza, but this isn't even my final form.
final form. No, that was more Cell, Imperfect Cell. Sorry
Wait.
about that.
This is not even my final form.
There he is.
There you go.
Gotta be a raspy, smoky woman. Because it was a woman
Oh, yeah.
who did the voice in the first dub.
The original, not Ocean Dub.
I'm not gonna lie. When the first time I
Yeah,
heard Frieza, I was like, "Is Frieza?"
weird
I asked my
voice
cousin,
actress.
"Is Frieza a boy or a
I
girl?"
thought it
He's like,
was. I
'Cause it
thought it
sounded
was.
like an
I was
old
like,
woman
this
kind of-
show. When I was a kid, I was like, this show is so progressive. The villain's a woman. Holy crap! And then,
You
no,
find out later. No, it's a guy.
DBZ never fucking fulfilling my female power fantasy. Can't you make
Well, I
18
mean,
be? Oh wait, I
there
heard
were-
18's badass and super.
I think
To
they
be
were going
fair,
for, like,
they do
the
have the
alien
two
side.
female Saiyans now. I forget what their names are. I don't watch.
Khalifa.
I'm not a Dragon Ball
Finally,
fan. Khalifa, and I forgot what the other one's
I
called.
had
Kale and cauliflower.
I had
Yeah,
some
Caleb.
motherfucker give me bull crap who tried to say, well, women can't be Saiyans because giving birth just takes too much energy out of them. Bitch! They be
What?
turning
What?
Super Saiyan while giving birth.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this guy
Okay.
was such a sexist. I've
Okay,
run
did
into
you?
so many sexists in my life. I told him
Okay.
it was bull crap. I told him that would be the opposite. Women would
Like
be
if they,
turning Super
I
Saiyan
could
all
see
the
if they
damn
had
time.
established that in the lore or something, but
I
if
hate
you had like a
to-
lore-based
Yeah.
argument, then
No.
I'd be like, okay, fine.
I absolutely hate.
No, this
motherfuckers
is some
when
guy
it's not
talking out of
because
his ass.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's like because of you, it's assholes like you that basically make developers and creators not want to do sex appeal and stuff anymore. It's your sexist fucking attitude. You
My
dumb
face.
motherfucker.
The only downside is that like
my face when this guy told me that.
It's the problem is that like
Can that be my face too?
they'll meet that one person.
Yes.
Like they'll have 100 fans, right? 100 fans. Most of them they'll release a female saying or whatever. No one says a word. That one idiot says something. All of a sudden they're like, well, see, all these guys hate this shit. It's like it's one asshole.
Well, no, then you just have the BuzzFeeds of the world just make a rage bait article about it, saying all these people hate it. It's like there's literally one person complaining about this.
Because I've seen articles like that where it's it's like look at all these people who hate on it. And it's like it's 4 people. That's hardly all the fans. But back to Alien Resurrection, just because like basically like this whole movie is a goddamn mess. Like Ripley is this weird, overly sexual like alien hybrid.
And then they did this thing where it's like, oh, she has memories of the previous movies, and even the characters' movies like, how the fuck does she have memories? And it's like maybe she's inheriting it from the alien. It's like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
that still doesn't make sense.
One thing I think it would have been cool is imagine if she wasn't like Ripley. Imagine if this was just some weird alien human experiment. Like sometimes I think that might have been better. I think that might have gone over better, but at the same time,
probably would have.
It's still a dumb concept.
Yeah, I know it's still dumb as hell.
I think it fits this dumb movie. It's a dumb, schlocky, Josh Whedon weird flavor with weird French lesbian shit going on.
Well, to be fair,
it's a strange movie.
And how much of that was Josh?
Yeah, how much did he write of this?
Yeah, how much of that was actually what Josh wrote actually made it up into this thing? Because I have no idea.
You know, he must have written that basketball scene. It's got his kind of snark all over it.
It's
got his bullshit stink.
Let me see, because I know I have my little notes here. Let me see. When it comes to writers,
I don't know who.
I know it's got him as
stinks like him.
It's got other writers though, so he's not the sole. Oh no,
yeah,
no,
I'm pretty sure.
So it's got Dan O'Bannon as writers, but it says for characters.
That's a credit. That's
yeah. So he probably he came up with the character Ripley. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a mostly Joss Whedon written thing. So.
But I'm wondering like how much of that like the studio
and then
made changes to it.
That is true because keep in mind we just got done talking about Alien 3 and that was the thing. Like how much interference did they have here?
Oh, fun fact about Alien Resurrection: the guys who made the producers of Alien 3 outright told the studio, "Do not make a 4th movie." It's even included in the special features of the special edition of Resurrection. Yes, I have that. I don't freaking know why. They outright say they leave it in. One of the guys says, we thought this was gonna kill the franchise, but they went ahead and made it anyway. Like he's not even subtle about it. He's like, they're like, we hated. We did not think a 4th movie was a good idea.
Well, because I mean, they already for better or worse, they ended Ripley's character arc.
I just realized something.
Yeah. What?
Guys, I just realized something. Alien Resurrection, despite all its bullshit, has a very effective horror scene with the scene with the Ripley experiments and the kill me scene.
Yeah, that scene was the only like horror scene that actually worked.
Because it actually calls into question what she is and how messed up that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Though it does kind of feel weird. It's like y'all having this much trouble with clones when it's like we can do that now. And not have all this shit.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Oh god.
When it's asking her to kill it and stuff.
The weird.
Yeah, the ones that are very much more xenomorph than human.
The one thing I liked was they got like the clones got bigger as they went on.
Yeah, there's an actual progression. It's like, you can clearly see they improve somewhat.
Yeah.
Somewhere deep in Alien Resurrection, there is a competent movie. It's just covered in shit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could say that about any movie though. That's somewhere down that there's a competent thing there.
I don't know. Some movies.
Nah, there's some. No, there's somewhere. There's nothing competently shot.
You find me the competent movie hidden within the room. No, I'm kidding, because there is one.
About to say
Oh,
you
God.
can kind of make an
There is
argument there is one.
I'm not. That was a joke.
The behind
There
the
is one.
scenes footage.
But just to close off with
Their
Alien
weird
Resurrection
secret behind the
is that,
scenes
like,
footage.
oh Lord.
Oh boy.
But to close off with Alien Resurrection is that it's very much like the black sheep of the franchise, even more so than Alien 3, because at least Alien 3 tried to keep the tone of the first two movies.
Yeah, they tried.
Resurrection, it just goes full schlock. And
oh yeah, those
and it's not
so
even like
cool.
fun schlock either. It's just.
I would say it's kind of a fun schlock, but only in the sense like you're drunk. Like you have to turn your brain off for it. Which to me, that doesn't make a good movie,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean you can't find entertainment in that movie. And God, that alien design, looking at it now, that's disgusting. I hate that.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
Oh, this one in the
Resurrection
middle.
design. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're both the same. Those first two are the same.
Yeah, I mean, I like the.
Yeah.
The only thing I liked the how they changed it in Alien versus Predator, making it black, because that was my biggest complaint. It's like, don't make them brown. That looks dumb to me.
I think the problem is that, like, and in this one, they made them look too bug-like. Like in Aliens, yeah, they had bug elements, but it felt like something to kind of
make them less
to flush out the character of the alien, as opposed to like define it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, these are just giant bugs. That's what they are. They're giant bugs, and I think that kind of ruins the mystique of them. But so
it does.
You know, following Alien Resurrection, we had the two AVP movies, which we kind of already talked about in the last stream. But in rough summary, they don't really add anything to it except for the kind of the Predator angle of it. One thing I will say, that they do keep the mystique of the aliens for the most part, in the sense they don't really like answer where they come from. They just have them.
Yeah, they're just there.
Alien versus Predator Requiem introduces the Pred Alien, which
was pretty awesome.
It's a concept that existed in the comics and the game, so it's not like it came out of nowhere.
That's the one thing I liked about Requiem, was like, oh, we have the Pred aliens here. Oh, that's cool.
No, it pissed me off. This pissed me off. This pissed me off so hard.
That's a really weird scene, and
that was just
weird.
Gratuitous.
It needs a context.
It was over the top.
It needs a context.
I get why it was there, because they didn't have another way to get more aliens in the movie.
It felt like a spit in the face to Predator lore. It felt like, hey, let's intentionally jump all over some hard cross lines in this series, and let's make the audience uncomfortable. Oh, because that last movie was PG-13, we're gonna be edgy as fuck. We're gonna put
that's because everyone complained about the PG-13 being about the other one being PG-13.
I think a good way to get. I will say this.
It over time.
I'm not against going, like, trying to make the audience uncomfortable, doing something fucked up, especially in a horror movie or something that's trying to at least slightly be horror.
I think the problem with that scene,
I don't know. This just felt like
it's really the problem with the rest of the AVPR is that it's too edgy.
It is trying a little too hard.
It's too hard to be edgy.
Yes.
It almost feels like they were trying to make a slasher movie, but throw these creatures in there, and it's like, they're not slasher villains.
Yeah, it's like there's slasher villains in this movie.
That to me was Predator, a problem.
Even the Predator, and again,
that's funny behind the scenes.
We're really friends.
We're really friends. We're gonna try to kill each other in 5 minutes, though.
But this is kind of a Predator tangent. But I know we're talking about Alien, but it's like the Predator's here on a very specific mission, but he's still hunting people.
Yeah, he's still like taking trophies and stuff, striking people. I was like, bruh, chill.
Like, you think he'd be like, aliens are loose. Let me focus.
I get him, killing humans that get in his way and everything, or pose a potential threat, but
yeah, that would have been cool. That would have been cool to see if he just like got in the focus. But one thing so I will say this: there's two scenes in this movie that I actually really like. Not including the Predator Pred Alien fight scene, because that was pretty. That was awesome. Anybody says that was a cool fight. The first scene I like, it's not in order.
What the
It's the
hell?
scene of the
What
aliens.
the?
Oh god!
Oh boy.
But
Hello there. How are
it's the
you
scene.
doing?
It's the scene where the National Guard gets ambushed by the Xenomorphs.
Oh, they got fucked up.
Now, first of all, the ambush makes no sense. Like some of the shots where it's like you should have seen that Xenomorph hiding somewhere.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
However, though, I do think because it's implied that the Xenomorphs laid an ambush for them, and that's why they got decimated. I like that scene. I like how you don't really get to see the full scene. You just hear them screaming. You get shots of them being decimated, and to me, it's like that's how it reminded me of Aliens in the sense.
Yeah, they
that
were really trying to reference that, but in my opinion, not as well.
Oh, definitely not as well. But especially considering the Colonial Marines got their asses kicked and they had better technology. Here you have modern day National Guardsmen fighting extraterrestrial aliens. No,
and they don't even have Ripley there to tell them what this thing is beforehand.
But I will say, if nothing else, it's a good homage. I think I'll say it's a decent homage to that scene.
Yeah, it definitely
that feeling.
You know what I do like about this movie though?
What?
The Predator in it was. I like how they went with an older Predator, and you can kind of tell by the symbols on his mask and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he's got a whole backstory to him. It's crazy. I'm not gonna go into it just because this is Alien stream. But
I really like the bladed whip thing he has. He doesn't use it that much in the movie. That just seems like a really badass weapon.
That's his personal weapon. That's one that's unique to him, which is why you don't see any other Predator use it.
I've actually seen another Predator use a similar one in one of the comics, one of the AVP comics. He's got except it's a triple whip thing where he's using it to restrain a bunch of aliens at once or something.
Yeah, they try. I think one of the things in the Predator lore is that certain Predators have weapons that they just simply prefer using, and that's his preferred weapon is that whip.
Yeah.
But one thing with the just to kind of close off I don't know if anyone else has anything to say about AVP, but I'm just gonna say this part. It's the other scene that really gets me in that scene, and I know it doesn't fully count because it is technically just a jump scare, but it still freaks me out every time I see it. It's the scene where the little girl is sitting in her bedroom, and she's got the night vision goggles, and she's looking out a window, and she sees the Xenomorph, right?
Yeah.
So of course she naturally screams, hides under her bed,
which
and
she would.
And her parents come in, say, "What's wrong?" It's there's a monster outside, and of course they don't believe her. So the mom's comforting her, the dad grabs a flashlight, he walks over, mom's saying there's no such thing as monsters, and your dad walks over, he points the flashlight to the window, he's like, "See, there's no monster out here." As soon as he points the flashlight to the window, you just see the Xenomorph's face, it just busts through the glass and starts ripping him apart.
I thought that was funny.
It's funny, yeah, in a retrospective thing, but in a moment, I was like, that's terrifying. She literally just saw a monster, tried to warn her parents. They didn't believe her, and the minute they tried to in the moment of trying to comfort her, there's no such thing as a monster, he just gets ripped apart. That girl is traumatized for the rest of her days. Her life is over.
This movie's so edgy.
To be fair, though,
I feel like I should cut myself and listen to Linkin Park.
To be fair, though,
that is what would happen in that situation.
That's exactly what would happen, though, and especially since the mom, they were trying to make the mom be part of the movie. They obviously had to get her in the plot somehow with the alien. So I get the scene, and they don't even linger on it either. It's not like you see the dad getting ripped apart for a couple minutes. The mom just immediately grabs the daughter and is we are getting the fuck out of here. Your dad is dead.
I think that's what makes it better is that they don't linger on it. It's a very sudden moment, and it doesn't stay on it. It's I don't want to say realistic, but it feels very natural.
It doesn't feel like they're we're gonna drag this out.
She saw the Xenomorph outside.
Compared to the other stuff.
It's she saw the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph clearly sees her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's coming. You as the audience member, you know what's going to happen. So when he walks up to the window, it's that was going to happen, regardless if he came to that window or not. So it feels organic to the story. Had that been the only real edgy moment of the movie, I think it would have been effective. More effective.
Mask. What the
hell
are those? The hell are those? That's funny.
Hey, baby, you want to try some
Alien
Predator
versus
weed?
The Pred weed.
Predator
Alien
weed?
versus Predator Requiem Deluxe Mask.
That is
Oh
so
my
goofy.
god!
I've seen costumes on Etsy
He
that look
does
better
this
than
to me.
this.
Oh my god, that is terrible.
I've seen Etsy costumes look a hell of a lot better than this.
The other problem I have with Requiem is they have. Oh my god, that one's terrible. The human characters, like, they have nothing to do with the movie. Like, at least in the first one, the humans were driving the plot somewhere. Like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
we found this pyramid thing in Antarctica that no one's found before. We're gonna go check this out.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that makes sense. I mean, this one is just, the town is being overrun, and so we don't even get a chance to connect with any of these characters.
Oh, such a weak plot.
Yeah, I don't even remember their
Yeah,
names.
such
I
weak
don't either.
characters.
I remember one guy's name and because he shares a name with someone from the original Alien. I think his name is Dallas.
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure there's a guy
Dallas
named
was like
Dallas.
the ex-convict dude who's like who gets the Predator gun at the end.
Yeah, which that was kind of cool. The fact the Predator had a freaking
That is
hand
one
cannon.
shitty costume. Holy shit!
Oh lord, it's like Shao Kahn
I know,
Predator.
like shitty Mortal Kombat Annihilation Predator Shao Kahn.
Oh,
You
we
know,
got-
if it
we
worked
got the-
with
we got the
DC
kid
versus
Predator.
Oh, we have the Child
Mortal
Predator.
Kombat, why
Oh
not?
lord.
Oh lord.
The Child Predator!
Oh god.
Child
Oh
Predator.
god. I didn't even think about
wow.
it.
Have you seen the
Child
video of the little kid dressed as Predator and someone says that? Like
That's
the person like
adorable,
covering the
but-
event says this, like we have the Child Predator and the child takes the Predator mask off and just like looks at the camera all innocent like, and it's adorable. That costume's tight.
Oh yeah, that's the Super Predator from
Yeah.
Predators.
That design is awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so like just to get back with AVP, because like one thing I will say, like when it comes to the Predator series, like there's a lot of cool and interesting Predator designs, at least like armor wise and like
Mask wise.
Not these ones.
Not that. I don't know what
you
the
don't really
what the
get
hell
that same
is.
when it comes to the aliens after like Alien 3.
Yeah, not really.
There's nothing
Yeah.
really unique.
You
There's
don't.
nothing really standoutish. It's all like they're either just really big bugs or they're like discount alien.
To be fair, with the Alien, it's a little bit harder to do that unless you had the whole it's a different host thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Though,
God.
which
I feel like they don't play with that enough.
they don't. Well, to be fair,
I
they
feel
didn't
like
even
you could
establish
really
it till the
play with
third
that.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really
Yeah.
establish
Yeah.
it to the third movie. Like it wasn't even canon. It was.
Yeah, I
well,
don't think it was like
it was kind of
really in a
implied in the
concept.
first one. It was implied in the first one because they were mentioning how like the thing was big and the android guy was like calls it Kane's son, so it's kind of implying it inherited because Kane was like implied to be was like kind of tall. It's kind of implied that it drew that from him or
Yes.
something. But they never like went anywhere with that until the third one.
Yeah, like AVP both.
Here's Disney's
both
Predator.
Films, both
Oh
films.
my god!
It's like when it comes to like the overall Alien movies, it's very much like a filler movie. There's no real depth to the aliens. They're just monster bugs that you have to fight.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, I don't know what you could really do with them without like. I'm not sure what else you could do with them without
Sorry.
ruining the mystique of them. I guess because I mean that's the problem Prometheus has. It pretty much told you what they are.
Perfect. That leads us right into Prometheus.
Yay! There's your segue.
Because
Yay!
Dang, I
Yeah,
have
that-
one
that's
a cool
Alien
one.
versus Predator, but okay.
I mean that's a fan make costume and it looks 1,000 times better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But like speaking
Yes,
of
I'm
like
getting into the fan ones.
ruining the mystique of the Xenomorphs. It's the ultimate segue into Prometheus.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go into this.
Because-
I'm gonna say this up front with Prometheus. I kind of liked it, but my thing was this really shouldn't have been an alien movie or trying to be.
I like it.
So
Yeah,
yeah, like
it shouldn't be connected. I like it its own thing.
of the two,
It could be in the
well,
same universe, but as long as it just didn't try to tie into Alien.
Of the
I think it would've
three
been a problem.
Ridley Scott Alien movies, it's easily the second best. Which I know that's kind of a default, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's kind of
Oh, yeah.
not really the enough.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
you got Alien obviously going to be on the top, and then you got that.
Yeah, but I know it's so when it comes to Prometheus, I know we said it before, is that Ridley Scott, like I know other people we talked about, but Ridley Scott specifically, he hated the concept of Alien versus Predator. And
I don't think
wasn't
he liked
exactly,
aliens either, to be
no, he
honest
didn't
with
like
you.
aliens either. He thought the bug motif was very uh unnecessary. He didn't like that addition to their lore. So
hey,
when
hey, leave the cat alone.
uh so
Uh-oh.
that's a weird looking cat.
I know. So you're something's wrong with your cat.
And the black goo got him, turned him into a dog.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. That's how you destroy civilizations. You turn all cats into rambunctious dogs.
That would destroy
I
everything.
think it would be the reverse.
Where's
You
your
turn the
toy?
dogs into evil cats.
that kind of energy, but with a cat's agility.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
You gotta find her a
So-
toy. Here's your
So when
toys.
it comes
Hey,
to
stop!
Prometheus, when it comes to Prometheus, so yeah, like Ridley Scott, he was not a fan of the alien. He wasn't a fan of aliens in the sense of like some of the stuff they added to the lore, and he definitely was not a fan of Alien versus Predator. So
Yeah, he outright was like, "These aren't
Oh
canon."
yeah.
yeah. So when Prometheus came along, when he had the chance to do Prometheus, basically this was like, I mean, I guess technically it's not a reboot because I guess you could say like he never considered those canon, but like
Reimagining.
yeah, well no, yeah, it's I guess you can see it as reimagining. I can see the argument as a reboot, but basically this is him kind of reestablishing the alien mythos.
Mhm.
And like I know this movie because this movie it's kind of like as time went on, it has kind of gained some semblance of a cult following in a way. Like I know a lot of people's kind of opinions kind of warmed of it. I know a lot of people's opinions kind of soured.
I'm part of that cult. I'm
so
part of
I
that
want
cult.
you-
I liked it
definitely
when it
like
came
the movie.
out. But I
Yeah.
was just kind of like, I wish you didn't tie it to Alien as much.
I'll let you guys kind of discuss. I gotta take care of something real quick. I'll let you guys kind of discuss like what you liked about Prometheus and whether you liked it overall or whether you kind of hate it overall. I'll let Soggy start.
I like the idea of a search for answers. I actually liked all the religious proto stuff. Like I really didn't fucking give a shit about the aliens. I actually liked it when it was just she had a weird thing inside her and she performed surgery to cut it out.
Mhm.
Like just I thought it was just more cool with this whole thing of just a team of explorers searching for answers and just finding horror. Oh, but Ridley Scott ruined it. I will say this, he will ruin it for me. You guys know so he eventually said why the pilots wanted to kill us.
Space Jesus, right? I remember that was what it was,
Yeah.
which was dumb. It was like,
yeah,
that was dumb.
that
Why'd you have to do that?
Jesus
Can you remind me about that again?
So the reason why they wanted to kill us is because apparently they sent an emissary down, obviously alien Jesus, and we killed him. That's why.
Yep.
Still,
What
though,
I thought they were gonna do was it was because they have this. Maybe it's because they were doing this thing where it's like, okay, we're trying to create like the perfect organism or whatever,
Mhm.
and humans, I guess, weren't
Yeah.
meeting that criteria. So it's like, okay, we'll send in the black goo to wipe them out, and we'll just start over again. Kind of implying that's what they
I think
did.
no
They would
answer
create
is a
stuff
better
and then,
answer.
yeah, I mean, especially if he just kind of hinted that that was the reason
Mhm.
because they were talking about how the
Yeah.
the thing that was on the wall that kind of looked like an alien that they call a deacon was like they saw it was like this pure thing, and it's like, yeah, okay, so they probably like the idea of wiping out a species and then redoing it or something.
Yeah.
And then
That they're
didn't
very
Covenant come out?
eugenics based.
Yeah, that's the vibe
that
I
was
got,
so
which I would have
horrible.
been, which I would have been fine if that's what they did, because it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense, you know. It's fucked up, but it's like, yeah, it makes sense.
And then Alien Covenant came out, and
The
then
only thing-
basically like, oh hey, look at you guys, you're all dead.
Yeah,
So bad.
yeah, it's like
So
it's like they
bad.
kind of
Remember the bait and switch with James Franco? Remember the bait and switch with James Franco?
Well, I think we
They
should
kept
probably
advertising
get to that when
that-
we get to
Oh
we
man,
should probably
I was
get to
Yeah.
that when we get to
about to
get
say,
to
oh man,
Covenant.
they already finished Prometheus.
Nah, we kind of just awkwardly segregated.
But
Yeah.
oh man, I kind of feel bad because I
Space
had to.
Jesus.
My dog
Space
needed some
Jesus.
attention.
We talked about Space Jesus.
Oh,
That
God,
was the
that's
yeah.
original
fine.
plan for
I
the
just had to pet
engineers
mine.
with Space Jesus.
Yeah, but like basically when it comes to like Prometheus, basically Ridley Scott was like, I'm about to redo this franchise. I'm gonna set it on the path I want it to be on. And as much as I believe in like the author slash creator, writers, whatever you want to call it, like they kind of get the final say of what their
Yeah.
I
story
think
should
he kind of
be.
had the George Lucas problem.
Yeah, especially in the sense that like there were some really good ideas that came about during the Alien post Aliens. Like I know a lot of it was bad, but there was some good stuff that came along with it, especially in the AVP stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know in AVP they kind of
Yeah.
established them as like an ancient alien race that no one truly knows where they come from.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
technically, Prometheus could even have that too, to the degree, at least in terms of its like core concepts, in the sense that like you don't really know where these things come from, and I know there's some ambiguity as to where they come from, at least in Prometheus alone.
In Prometheus, yeah, Covenant ruined
Covenant
that.
destroys it. Covenant
Just takes a axe to that.
Hated it.
like
Hated
Covenant
it. Hated it. Hated it.
Prometheus,
Did you
in
hate
my
it?
opinion, it murks up the potential of the origins, in the sense like there's just enough ambiguity so you can kind of add your own context. Covenant destroys it.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
One thing I will say though with Prometheus is I like the engineers. I
Yes.
don't think they're perfect, but I do like them as their own unique species.
I do kind of hate that he had to basically retcon the jockey thing
jockey.
in the chair, because it was like, because it was so alien looking. I was like, yeah, this thing is fused with the chair, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, the chair it's not really a chair, that's its body or
It's a suit.
something.
Yeah, it's like a
And then
suit.
it's like, oh,
he
it's just a
wears.
suit. He just sits in it, just collapses around. I was like, that's kind of lame.
Yeah, because I know in the Alien comics they
Yeah.
introduced the space jockeys, and like the design for them is literally that chair. Like they don't that like that him in that chair was the body. That was
That's
no
what I
suit.
thought they were supposed to be, or like, I even thought that it was kind of being like it's like a biomechanical thing where it's like the chair thing is like a navigation unit thing that's autonomous, but it's like organic and mechanical or something. You know,
Yeah.
He
that's
was
what I thought it was
born
supposed
to
to be.
be the navigator.
Yeah, literally like an organism that was designed to do that.
And then another thing about Prometheus is that I don't know if any of you ever got a chance to see or even hear anything about the original script for the movie.
I actually have like the
No.
Blu-ray that has like explaining how many different scripts they went through.
So
It was ridiculous.
So just for the context of this is that I'm sure most of you have seen Prometheus, and you know that like there's a lot of fucking questions.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
you leave the movie with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Which to me I always think is kind of a mistake when it comes to most storytellings. But in one of the original scripts for the movie, they pretty much like any context that was missing in the film is in that script. So in the beginning, when it has like the engineer drink the black liquid or drink that liquid and he breaks apart and it's implied like that is the start of Earth civilization. In the original script, it is straight up like that's Earth. That is literally the start of humanity in that scene. And the liquid he drinks, it's supposed to be like this golden liquid that they got from some ancient animal. And basically their whole religion was like they take this blood, they drink it, and they basically sacrifice themselves to seed life in the universe.
Huh.
Cool.
Like,
That's an interesting.
Yeah,
way to
they
do
weren't
it.
scientists. They weren't really, well, they were sort of scientists, but basically it was like their religion to sacrifice. One person would sacrifice themselves. It was like this big honor, and like even the opening scene is completely different, where it shows like
It shows like an older one, yeah, handing
older
the other
engineer.
one.
There's another engineer with like a hood on, and there's a ship in the background. and they're all standing here. They hand this one engineer the liquid, and they kind of let him go about his thing, and this scene happens. And it's implied that like this golden stuff is like some substance they got from this ancient animal that supposedly provided life on their planet. And so, they're carrying on the work, and then like later on in their species cycle, they pretty much ran out of the stuff. Like they were running out of this golden liquid. So the black liquid is their attempt to recreate that golden liquid,
and it doesn't work.
And it's completely corrupted, and it doesn't serve the same function. And at some point, and this is where it gets really freaking dumb, in my opinion, is that it's implied that, and I'm pretty sure you guys were talking about this while I was away, is that Jesus was either an engineer or somebody sent by the engineers, and his job was to guide humanity back on the right track.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, and they fucking killed him.
That is so dumb.
And supposedly, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if Ridley said this or if
he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
Where he's like, that was the moment where the engineers were like, it's time to destroy humanity.
Yep. And then
that was so stupid.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, but then Covenant came around and just like, maybe we should destroy you.
I think he even said that was too obvious, so they didn't do that.
Yeah, so I appreciate that bit of ambiguity, but at the same time, there's so much ambiguity that and to hear that, it's like, well, without any other context, I kind of have to assume this is what led to these events.
I liked everything up until the Jesus thing. That was where that plot lost me.
Gonna have to get going. I'm gonna have to get going. I'm really tired. I need to give my small dog her pill. I don't usually podcast this late.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up soon. So
okay.
I appreciate you coming on.
All right, sorry to leave early. No problem, guys.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was nice to come on. It was.
Yeah, thank you for
all right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you, Soggy.
No problem.
All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up here in a little bit, but basically, like, there's just, to me, there's just too many questions.
Well, you know why that is, right?
Why?
They hired the guy who wrote Lost, Lindelof.
Yeah, oh my god.
And like, he's from the school, like the J.J. Abrams School of Mystery Box, don't explain shit type stuff. Because one of the other drafts, like the first writer they had, he actually was like, yeah, we're explaining all this shit. Pretty much, or at least enough so you knew what the fuck was going on. Hey, can we just talk about how stupid the human characters are in that movie?
Yeah, and
it always irked me.
It's like, and I know a lot of people try to say like, they try to justify some of their behaviors, but it's like, no, man, you're on an alien planet. Just because the air is like quote unquote breathable doesn't mean there aren't other things in the air.
Yeah.
And then, like, the guy with the maps is like, oh...
The guy with the maps gets lost.
Yeah, he's like, well, he makes the maps. That doesn't mean he has access to them. It's like, why wouldn't he have access to the very
Everyone else had access to them, though.
Yeah.
At least it was implied they did.
And then the biologist dude who sees the snake thing and is trying to touch it. It's like,
oh,
dude,
look at it. Look at it. Oh,
the minute it snapped at you, that should have been the immediate, like, all right, she doesn't want to be messed with.
Like, I'm not a biologist, but I can tell when an animal is telling you to fuck off, and when it rears up like that, that's a defense thing. It's telling you, hey, back off, I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do something, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, I used to work with dogs, and it's like when you're trying to pet a dog and they snap at you, it's like, okay, all right, we're gonna back up.
Or like a cat where it swipes at you, that means whatever you're doing, stop doing it.
Exactly.
Or if the ears are going back, like if the ears start to go back and you're not petting them, yeah, you might just want to back the fuck off.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's like it's bad when, like, these are supposed to be scientists, and you have like just not saying anything against the general audience, but you have just everyday people being like, "Yo, that's just
stupid.
dumb." Like, it's not even like one of those where it's like, "Oh, you're running from something and you hide yourself in the closet." It's like, that seems dumb, but at the same time, that is technically something someone might do in the heat of a moment, kind of thing.
Yeah, especially if you're dealing with an animal, like an animal might not think to look there.
Yeah, but this whole thing is like, their behavior is beyond dumb. The fact that like that one scientist dude didn't notice David put his finger in his drink before he gave it to him is stupid.
Yeah, how the hell did he
It's-
not notice that? I get he was drunk, but it's like, dude, you didn't seem that drunk.
And then one thing I really hate is like the because there's a scene that's cut out of the movie, and I think this would have made a lot more. I think it would have fit better is when David actually speaks to the engineer.
Oh yeah, it talks back.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's like these engineers, they're not animals. They're a sentient race of creatures. Like they're like people in the sense, right? Like they're not driven by some crazy
Animalistic
bloodlust.
urge to kill.
Yeah. So it's like it would make sense for this guy who's woken up for what he doesn't know how long. So he's got to assume he's been asleep for a while, especially to see a completely different species on this planet.
Yeah.
You think he would be like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, you think he'd be
Like-
like, wait, what the hell? What did I miss?
Yeah, exactly. And he has that moment too, like even in the theatrical cut where he's like confused. Like there's a very clear face of confusion on him. Like, what the hell's going on here? What are all
Yeah,
these people doing here?
Yeah, he kind of looks at them for a while, like trying to figure out what he should do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I like the talking scene where he kind of realizes, oh, these guys haven't changed.
Yeah,
Like-
at least it gave him something, like some
Mhm.
kind of all right.
Yeah, like he's sitting here like, what the hell are these people doing here? And he's sitting there talking to this one human, saying like, hey, this guy, he knows you created him, and he wants you to make him live longer. And he's just like, really?
Why should I do that? And then
Yeah.
he goes all megalomaniacal to what I created this thing, so that means I'm on the same level as you, or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, I get why this guy is like, okay, for you too stupid.
Especially when you throw in the context of that opening scene where their whole religion is to selflessly sacrifice themselves to give life to new things,
Yeah,
not necessarily for the glory of creating something, but for the sake of, that's their duty.
Mhm.
Of course, he's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy, he's just an arrogant asshole."
yeah. I was like, fuck this dude.
I'm trying to think of some other things about that movie that I like.
The stuff with David, I like just David in general. In Prometheus, I liked his character.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the first movie, he's fine. Like, you can tell he's a guy who's kind of jaded towards humans. But what's her name? Shaw, the main female lead.
He's at least somewhat interested in Shaw because she's not.
She's not a dick to him.
Yeah, she's the only
Oh,
one
yeah.
that's nice to him, really.
Like genuinely nice. The other ones, like they're not mean to him, but they don't really.
They're apathetic towards him.
Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says, and I think I might be giving the movie too much credit here, but I do think it's a bit poetic, or maybe even like a little subtly character development in that he poisons Dave. What's his name? I can't think of his name.
Holloway. Why do I remember his name?
Yeah,
Who
there it
looks
is,
like Tom
Holloway.
Harding, but is not.
Yeah,
Tom Harding.
Holloway.
Mhm.
He poisoned Holloway's drink, and I'm like, I get he's an android, but there's no way he didn't do that to kind of.
Because Holloway was a dick to him the whole time, so it was
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like. And he even seems like it almost seems like he kind of wasn't just humoring the idea of maybe I shouldn't poison him, because he asked Holloway about the whole "why do you suppose your people made me" thing, and then Holloway gives an answer, which honestly I wouldn't even be mad if that was the answer to that. It's like, why did you create it? It's like, because we could. It's like, we wanted to see that, and I was like, okay. I'd be okay with that, honestly. I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I kind of hate that the movie kind of runs with that idea. It's like that's especially in the theatrical cut, in that like they try to run with that's the reason why the engineers made that. That might be the reason why the engineers made humanity in general
Because they could.
because they could. And it's like, yeah, that just because that's what humans would do doesn't necessarily mean that's what these advanced aliens would do.
But then again, they looks like humans, so you could imply that they would think like we do.
Oh god! And then the way they quote unquote discover that they were created by engineers is stupid.
Yeah, it was like the DNA matched or something, which
Mhm.
is like that doesn't make any sense, because then why do they look so different from you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
The DNA
first of
perfectly
all,
matched.
Yeah, the DNA perfectly matching. That shouldn't be possible because they look completely different than you. Their entire structure is completely different
Yeah,
from
they're
you.
taller. They're
Mhm.
have this like super. I want to say translucent. I guess it's kind of
Super
accurate.
pale skin,
Yeah,
completely
No
black
hair.
eyes, no
no
hair.
hair.
They got like those suits grafted to their bodies, which there's no telling what that did to them.
the ultra deep voices that no human could really do without like obviously an audio software program.
Yeah, so it's like the DNA matching, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't.
if anything, it's like we're clones of them. Or like, even then, that doesn't make sense because it's like
We don't look like them.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a perfect match to the DNA.
It'd be one thing if they just simply settled on, okay, our DNA is very similar to theirs.
Yeah,
Because that would make sense because like they look kind of vaguely human-like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even then, that would just imply that they're our ancestors at the very least.
That could be like
that wouldn't necessarily mean they made us.
Yeah, that'd be either weird descendants from them or something like that.
Some kind of distant relative to them.
Yeah, which would make sense. I mean, they're
Did
older.
the engineer have? Did they had 5, right?
I think they had 5. I think either had 5 or 4. I can't remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't think we got a good look at that.
Yeah, they kind of show them match up, and then they just say, "Oh my god."
Oh my god.
Yep, 5. Oh wait.
But I think Shaw even says they're us, and it's like, no, they're not. Clearly not. They're clearly not human.
Yeah,
they're close.
Yeah, well, from what I could see here, it's 5 fingers. So I mean, yeah. So in the long run, they have a lot of similarities. But yeah, saying that instead of saying they're exactly like us or they're us, maybe
we have a lot of similarities with chimps, but you can clearly tell a human from a chimp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just looking at the skeleton, you can tell there's a difference.
You know, it's one thing that always bothered me though, and this is kind of more of a actually no, it's a small thing, but it's actually big when you really think about it. You remember the scene where they activate that hologram and it shows all the engineers running, and it shows the one get its head cut off by the door, and that's the one they find. In that scene, they show a bunch of other engineers run into that room. What happens to those engineers?
Yeah, where are their bodies, and why can't we see what they were running from?
Yeah, and what
why doesn't that show up on the camera?
Like, what exactly were they running from? Was it like a contamination breach? Because he runs into the room where the stuff was being held in.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing theories of like, oh, they were running from xenomorphs. And then where the fuck are the xenomorphs?
Yeah, why don't you see any of their bodies or any evidence of them?
Yeah, and why is he the only body? And why did the other ones were peacefully asleep in their like stasis pods?
Mm-hmm.
And so
it really didn't make any sense.
Ultimately, like, I think one of Prometheus' biggest problems, that was a sentence. One of the biggest problems the movie has is that there's just simply too many questions that don't get a proper resolution, even in after context either.
Yeah. And then you have Covenant.
Oh, yeah.
But before I jump to Covenant real quick, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. Is the last comic book thing I was going to bring up is that after Prometheus, Dark Horse came out with a Predator, I say AVP, but it's an Alien Predator, all this series called Fire and Stone. And basically, it's like their attempt to reboot, I guess you could say, the Predator and AVP franchises in the sense like they because it was like Fox was like, all right, Ridley, we know you don't like AVP, but it's gonna happen. It makes too much money. So basically, Fire and Stone is like a I guess you can say a soft reboot of the AVP Predator continuities. I think I remember seeing somewhere where it's like it was almost specifically written to make the continuity stay together. And it takes place I just try to find the best way to kind of describe this is that one second, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. So I know it kind of starts off sort of after the original Prometheus film. I think it takes place 100 years after Prometheus, and basically you got like a crew of people. They're going to the planet. They know this is where they know this was like the last stop of the Prometheus, and they're basically trying to find whatever they can, to make money off it. And while they're there, they run into a bunch of xenomorphs.
Because of course.
Yeah, because of course. Also, the planet's like covered in other kinds of alien life. Like, because I know in the planet it and Prometheus was pretty much like a desert. There
Yeah.
was almost nothing on it. But then in Fire and Stone, it's got like forests, it's got a jungle, it's got wildlife and everything. Like it's like completely, almost like a completely different planet. And they even mention how, like, you know, in the original reports of the planet, it didn't have all this. And I think it's implied that like the black goo, the black goo,
The black gluten.
yeah, when the ship Prometheus crashed into the engineer ship, they spilled a bunch of that black liquid everywhere. And basically that black liquid like terraformed the planet and any tiny biological life that was on it. And so that essentially gave birth to all the things they see on the planet.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
And also I'm about to share this one more thing because this is just to give it kind of context of some of the stuff they ran onto on that planet. So yeah, like there's oceans, there's like fish in the water. They all have these weird alien designs. And like I said before, there's xenomorphs on it. And so as it turns out that in one of the comics, they explain that a bunch of people escaping Hadley's Hope, LV-426, they escaped LV-426 and came to this planet. And on board their ship were a bunch of xenomorphs. And that's how the xenomorphs got into. Yeah, and that's how the xenomorphs got onto this planet here. And you know, the xenomorphs have been pretty much running amok the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And so while the new crew is trying to survive the xenomorphs, at some point they accidentally unleash another engineer, because it turns out there was another engineer sleeping in one of those pods. And so he gets awoken, and you know, him being the engineer, and this, they don't really add any context, he just starts killing everything. Like everything in sight, he's just murdering all the xenomorphs, all the humans, any animal life he finds, he's just killing them.
Because of course.
Yeah, again, there's no explanation as to why he's doing this. He's just doing it.
I just imagine he just wakes up and just looking like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah, and one thing that really, it's kind of cool, but it's also dumb at the same time. They introduce an engineer like weapon. Like he straight up picks up like this rifle. And oh god, it's so weird because it looks kind of cool in the sense of like, oh, it's a pretty neat design, but it's so utterly broken. It's like he fires the weapon and things just disappear. like they just fade from existence almost.
It's like he's atomizing them.
Yeah, and it's like one of those where it's like, this seems a little too I don't want to say too sci-fi, but it seems just a little too like
into like
crazy.
the fantasy territory.
Yeah. And again, like there's no explanation as to why he's doing this. There's no context to it. This is just what he's doing.
He's just on a killing spree.
Yeah, and
Because of course.
And so like they try to escape the planet, and you know, it goes into the whole Predator side, but basically the entire story is just meant to maintain the continuity between Alien, Predator, and
Prometheus.
And Prometheus now. And so, you know, one of the things when they were making this comic, I remember, I think Fox told like the writers, because there was a collaboration between different writers, was that they were like, there were certain things they couldn't touch upon. They weren't allowed to mention what happened specifically to the crew of the Prometheus, like Shaw and David. And they weren't allowed to explore the Deacon, which was that alien you see at the end of Prometheus.
Right.
Like they weren't, I don't think they were allowed to directly reference it or name it. And so, you know, I won't go into the full spoilers of it because, you know, we'll be here for all day. But basically, it bridges the two series, but it doesn't answer any more questions that Prometheus left. And I know a lot of people were kind of expecting that, but they didn't get it. And then finally, we all end up at Alien Covenant, which I think most people will agree is probably the worst Alien movie ever made.
I would say Resurrection was worse.
I don't know.
No, you really have a hard on for that movie, don't you?
Yeah, I hate that movie.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I think Covenant is a little bit worse, and I think it's because like as bad as Resurrection is, it doesn't destroy the alien mythos.
That's true. Covenant does do that, but I could at least watch Covenant and not. Like, I could at least watch Covenant and not just be like, "What the fuck?" Like, this is dumb. Like, I can just be like, "This is just stupid."
I don't know, because some of the human actions,
The
like
humans are dumb as hell in that movie.
in Prometheus, yeah, their actions were dumb in Prometheus, and here it's even dumber.
Yeah,
And
they
people try to say,
do
well, they're
this.
not scientists. It's like, still, though.
You don't have to be a scientist to know not to stick your head in a pulsating egg-looking thing, or follow an android who you don't think is trustworthy.
Yeah, he's just like...
He's like, it's perfectly safe. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? Why are you trusting him?
Almost everything he says is so cryptic and creepy. And he's just like, hello, how you doing today? And he's just got this so normal, chalant attitude, while there's very clearly some monsters going bump in the night. And he's just like, oh, it's all fine.
And he gets visibly pissed when the guy shoots one of the creatures. Like, no! It's like, dude, that's a red flag.
Yep.
It's like, this thing just murdered my friend. I don't, like,
no,
what
it didn't murder his
context
friend,
makes
it
you
murdered
think...
his wife. It murdered his wife, actually.
Yeah, it's true. They did murder his wife earlier. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, like, why would he... What person in any right mind would just be like, yeah, like, you know, it's fine. It's perfectly safe. Like, no, these things have been vicious every single time. It not being vicious to you does not negate the viciousness it showed everyone else.
Yeah, and the reason why it's not vicious towards them is because it doesn't care about androids.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And then they introduced what is probably easily the worst continuity change in all of Alien, the entire franchise. That these super eldritch Lovecraftian monsters were created by a pissed off android.
And even his reason for being pissed makes no sense. He's just like, oh, I just don't like humans anymore. And it's like, really?
He literally built them because he has daddy issues.
Yeah, it's like, dude, what the fuck?
My daddy was mean to me, therefore I will destroy mankind.
Like his whole thing in the first one was that, yeah, he hated Wayland, but it was just implied that it's like, I only really hate him. And he just wanted him to die, and it's like, yeah, he's dead, so now what?
And then, like, even at the end of Prometheus, where it's like he's kind of like warming up to Shaw, because I know they had the whole ad campaign that, like, is essentially a movie in and of itself that takes place between Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
That was so dumb. That was so dumb.
Yeah, I thought that was all going to be... I thought, like, this seems weird that you guys would, like, show a lot of this, like, outside of the movie, but okay.
Like, they had the whole scene with James Franco before they go on
the trip.
Yeah, before they go on the cryo or whatever. It's like, I was like, oh, is this going to be in the movie? And it's like, oh, James Franco dies in the first 5 seconds. It's like, why'd you even have him in the movie?
It's the same reason why they had Bruce Campbell in Congo, or Steven Seagal in, I can't remember that one movie, but it was the plane one, and they were trying to stop a bunch of terrorists, and Steven Seagal's character sacrificed himself so that the team could be there. It's a massive little, oh, hey, check out this star's in it, and goodbye.
Yeah, they had them for the star power, essentially.
Basically.
I feel like.
It's like we couldn't afford them for the full movie, so we just killed them off in this.
You know what's another thing that bugged me about Prometheus?
What's up?
And this carries over to Covenant. The technology they use, it's way more clean than what you saw in Alien. It's like, this is supposed to take place before Alien. Why does the technology look better than what? I get that it's Wayland's like personal, like super duper cool ship, but it's like, bruh.
It's like, I think what doesn't help it is that, like, even in the context of what it's supposed to be like, oh, this is like a ship bought by Wayland, furnished by Wayland. However, this is still taking place like almost a century before Alien 1.
Yeah, so why is technology leagues better than Alien?
Yeah, like it's almost like a completely different set of technology.
Like, people say that about the prequels and Star Wars, but it's like, no, they actually kind of show that no, the technology isn't better, because like when Anakin gets his arm chopped off, his robot arm is clearly robotic, whereas Luke's was human looking.
Yeah, his wrist was like robotic essentially, but it was underneath like a layer of skin.
Yeah, fake skin and everything to make it look real.
Yeah, like the Star Destroyers were significantly smaller.
Yeah, so it's like there was an attempt with with the prequels to make it look like we can show you more cool shit because effects have progressed, but it's like this is still before the original trilogy.
Yeah, and then like what was another thing that really weirded me out was like
they have the Sony tablet too, like when the character Covenant is looking at footage of James Franco's like, you're clearly using a Sony tablet that's like made today. Like, what the fuck?
Sponsored by Sony.
It's like
Yeah.
you couldn't make that thing look like it fit in the setting at all, at least a little bit.
Do they even make computers anymore?
What was a tablet? I don't even know if Sony even makes tablets. I've never seen a Sony tablet.
Wow.
That's how far into the future they were. Sony finally got into the tablet race.
Yeah. Actually,
And
I'm gonna look it
won.
up. I'm gonna
And
look it up.
won.
Sony.
As according to that movie, they won.
Oh no, Sony does have tablets. I've never
yeah.
seen these before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's one called the Xperia Z4 Tablet Ultra. That's a mouthful.
Oh god. And it's not like it's not like some weird like off-brand Sony thing where it's like Sony owns it, just don't have their name on it.
No, it's got their name on it in the top left corner, so I'm assuming it's legit.
Yep, I'm just checking them out too, and that's interesting. I wonder if
they're
they're
kind of a boring looking tablet. I'm gonna be honest with you.
a little bit. Maybe these are old.
Yeah, they might be old models. They might not make these anymore.
So take a
I'm
look.
just image searching, so I have no idea. Let me go on Best Buy and see.
I'm checking this one website right now, and it's just wow.
I'm checking Best Buy.
One thing I was gonna say though, when it comes to Alien,
I like that poster.
Yeah, like that poster. Like at
That
first,
was
like this
sick.
is before the movie came out. Like I was thinking, like they were gonna like explain like the engineers had like a war with the Xenomorphs where they accidentally created them or something like that, or they accidentally discovered them or rediscovered them or something, and their species got destroyed by them, which led to like the space jockey and all that stuff. No.
Oh, okay, I can't find. I looked at Best Buy to see if there's any Sony tablets. The only thing that came out was a supersonic tablet, which doesn't have anything Sony on it. So I guess they stopped making these.
Yeah, I found a bunch of them on Amazon. I'm trying to look for the date that. Oh yeah, these are old as hell.
Yeah, okay.
2013.
Oh yeah, they must have fucked that up too.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so I'm looking through like IMDb for like Alien Covenant stuff, and like they have like IMDb pages for the prologues of Alien Covenant. They have one for the Last Supper.
Yeah, which is the one where they actually show all the characters, and James Franco wasn't dead.
Yeah, they have one for Shaw and David's time before he killed the engineers.
Yeah, before he decided to do something to Shaw.
Yeah. Holy shit. Like, this is stupid. Oh my god, this is so stupid. They have, like, one... I don't know if you've seen the one ad for Alien Covenant where it's like it's almost like a promotional... It's like a fake company promotional video for, like, their new model of Android, which is the Walter one. Like, it's literally that. It's like an IMDb page for it. Oh my god, there's so many of them. How many prologues did they make to this goddamn movie?
I don't know. And the fact that none of that shit is actually in the movie makes it even worse because it's just like that's like what problem we had with Halo 5, where it's like, okay, you have all these characters, you don't explain any of this shit. I have to go read a separate book to know these characters.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous. There's so much of it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I think some of these might be okay. Some of these are short films. So all right. So some of these are short films, like fan films, but still, there's quite a few that are like very clearly Fox produced because they got like the actors in them. But yeah, like Alien Covenant, like a lot of people were expecting like a lot of people walked out of Prometheus, a lot of questions, and they were hoping that the sequel would answer some of those questions.
Yeah.
Instead, it left a bit more questions, and it gave us an answer, but it's probably the worst answer the entire series could ever give you, and that's David created the Xenomorphs. And it's not even subtle, too. It's straight up like, no, he made them.
Mm-hmm.
And the protomorphs, like those white ones, like they're kind of all right. I
actually kind of like their designs.
I like the designs. I hate that they're basically just at the core of it, they're discount xenomorphs.
Yeah. Which apparently in the I haven't read it, but in the novelization, what actually happens is the thing that's almost like the classic xenomorph and one of the protomorphs end up fighting each other, and the protomorph gets its ass kicked.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I remember that now. So yeah, the white ones are the neomorphs.
Yeah, the
They're the
neomorph, that's what they're
neomorphs.
called.
The protomorph is the lesser xenomorph.
Yeah, it's kind of like a stupider xenomorph.
And this was supposed to be in the film too. Is that because this is actually a thing? In the movie, there's two neomorphs, but they only explain what happened to one of them.
Yeah.
They don't show the other one. They only show one get killed. And this is supposed to be what happened to the second one is that when they were running from the protomorph, the lesser xenomorph, while they're running outside to the ship, the neomorph finally makes it to the temple. And while they're there, as they're getting onto the ship, the protomorph and the neomorph see each other, and there's supposed to be like a brief fight scene where the protomorph just destroys the neomorph.
Yeah.
And I'm like, had you included that, it would not have saved the movie, but it would have made it a hell of a lot better.
I mean, and that's what I mean. Good fight scenes helped out Alien versus Predator. Remember that first fight scene between the actual alien versus the Predator?
Oh, that was incredible.
Yeah. Could you imagine? It might not have been as cool as that, but they still could have had some fun with that fight.
Yeah.
It would have added at least a memorable scene to a very bad movie.
Yeah.
Again, did wonders for AVP.
Oh yeah.
That fight, and I'm sure. I actually, you know what? In hindsight, I don't think they would have done it that much of a justice because it's like, I think even in the novel, it's very much like he just kills it. Like it's.
Yeah,
like,
it's just like
a
no
brief scuffle,
contest.
and he just kills it. But at the same time, that's a good like visual representation showing that this is the danger. This is the more dangerous monster.
Also, it's just the fact that how fast the protomorph like gestates, and I was just like, this was like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It's already bursting out of people, and then it's like coming out
fully
like
grown,
almost fully grown, and then it just grows in 5 seconds. It's like, good lord.
It's freaking like mimicking David's movements, like it's his dad, like it's
Yeah,
his
which was so weird. And then how did another one get on the ship? Because they show a guy like a face almost jumps on him, but you don't see it actually like attached to his face.
Well, apparently, it got that tentacle down his throat far enough and put that egg in there.
But it's like you think he doesn't bring it up to anyone or anything. It's like this thing like face humped me.
Yeah, like it's so.
And then the whole Walter David switch thing, it's like that was so freaking obvious. Like you didn't think to check this.
And how did he even do that? Because like Walter lost his whole hand. Did he cut off his own hand?
I think he did.
Because I remember I saw one theory video where it said he transferred his consciousness.
That's what I thought initially. It was like, oh, he transferred his brain and he hacked into Walter or something.
But then it's like, where's Walter then? Like, would Walter not be in David's old body, or did he kill Walter?
Maybe it's like a demon possession where it's like, oh no, he's in there. He's just asleep right now.
Like that concept alone is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like that's not why I came here to see.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't come here to see Michael Fassbender fight Michael Fassbender.
Oh God,
I didn't come here to see that. Like the movie was weird. Like it's like 1 minute it wants to be horror, next minute it's trying to be an action movie,
and then
but not good at either.
And the sad part, and another thing it tries to be is like this really deep philosophical movie, which, you know, to be fair, like, well, no, I take that back. Even the old Alien movie didn't really have that kind of deep philosophical questioning nature, questioning God kind of thing. No,
Yeah,
this movie goes full on pretentiousness in that message. Like Prometheus had it, but you could see it as like the folly of someone trying to play God. This one, he's playing God and he's being successful in it.
Yeah, he's straight up winning the entire film.
And the sad part is, like, because at this point now, they're not going to go forward with these movies. Like, there's no way they're going to continue this series. It's going to be a reboot, or they're just never going to make another Alien movie.
But I'd be fine if they just never made another Alien movie. I really don't want to see a reboot.
Yeah, but I was going to say, it's like,
I don't think anyone could create a reboot in current year. If you have so many check boxes and you're forced to basically make it around those, it just makes horrible movies. If you want a really good example, Woke Fate.
Well, yeah, because people are today in Hollywood specifically, they're more concerned about franchises than anything else.
Not to mention, I mean, you heard about the alleged plans for a new Predator movie. It sounds fucking awful.
Yeah, we talked
You
about
got
it on the
about the
last
Native
stream.
American one?
Pocahontas versus Predator.
Basically, yeah, it sounds fucking awful.
Yep.
Yeah, the galaxy's greatest hunter who hunts the baddest warriors from any species, from humans to xenomorphs. Now he's gonna fight a teenager coming of age.
A moody Native American teenager.
And of course, where the other guys, where Arnold could barely hold his own, in a one-on-one fight, and the only reason why Danny Glover won was because he had one of their weapons. She's probably going to be able to stand on her own without any of their weapons.
And you notice with the Danny Glover Predator 2 fight, it really came to them actually like trying to punch each other. It really came down to that.
Arnold threw hands because he didn't know what this thing was and he had no other choice. And even he, after that first hit, when he punched him in the face and he didn't feel anything.
Yeah, the Predator just kind of looked at him like, the fuck you doing? And then just bops him on the head like, okay.
Exactly. Immediately after that hit, he's running from it.
Well, first he tries to hit it with the log and it just breaks the log just with his arm. He's like, okay. He's like, bad idea. He kind of realizes, I'm not fighting this thing in a fist fight. He kind of slowly realizes, I ain't winning this in a fist fight with you.
One thing I say is that this is something, because to me, Alien Covenant and the Predator are very they're like, I know a lot, like as much as Ridley Scott tries his best to separate these two franchises, like those two movies are like very good mirrors of each other, where like they try to do too much with the monster that, it was already kind of perfect because you left it vague enough for almost anything to fit. You tried to give us too many answers and you basically ruin the mystique of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the Predator tries to give this stupid context to what was already like, oh, they take trophies because they're hunters. Oh no, now they take trophies because they're trying to collect that
harvest
DNA
to make themselves better or something.
Yeah, and then Alien Covenant comes around. It's like, here's these really weird creatures that seem to just come out of nowhere, and like no one knows where they came from, and they just decimate everything. Oh, it turns out they were just created by a AI with a god complex.
And see, you could settle on the aliens being a bioweapon because they're biomechanical, so that could make sense if you just never showed like who made them or why they were made.
Yeah, like I would have loved, like even given what Covenant was, I would have loved it if it turned out like David, like he found plans for them, or he found some kind of
instructions or something.
Instructions, or maybe even like a dead one, and he like reverse engineered his own version of it.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would be a little bit better.
For aliens.
Because even in this
again, a manual for aliens, yeah.
It's a dummy's guide to Xenomorph building.
Yep.
But
he got the wiki. He got the wiki. How?
Alien wiki, AVP wiki,
alien wiki.
How to grow Xenomorph. Step 1.
Don't.
Step 1. Don't. Step 2. Really don't.
Seriously,
Step 3,
don't.
All right, you're in over your head.
All right, you're gonna die and probably get your friends killed, but okay, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
And then, because I know in the Alien comics they introduced the Ultramorph, which originally was what happens when a face hugger or a Xenomorph is born from a space jockey.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be like these giant, like almost queen-size Xenomorphs, where they don't really look like a queen. They look like a regular Xenomorph, but they're huge.
Just massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, I would love it if it turned out like the engineers made those, and then like the smaller Xenomorphs were maybe like reverse engineered by David to create those smaller ones. Like, that's still not that great of an answer, but to me that's better.
I'd take that over David just created them.
I kind of wonder if this is kind of going back to the comic, but it is talking about our point over here. I kind of wonder if the Predators in the comics actually had a wiki for dummies in terms of creating, well, not wiki for dummies, but had some kind of instruction manual. Because again, if you remember the comics, the conversation we had last week, they did steal alien queens, force them to lay eggs, and they basically would put the eggs on inhabited planets because again, just they want a good hunt. And even though they could put bugs in the middle of space, it wouldn't be a very interesting hunt for them to live in the middle of space.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny about that is that when you really think about it, that is exactly what happens, because the predators, like, they got a long culture, they got a long history. So like their ancestors who started this thing are gonna write down the steps for it. So somewhere out there in a predator library, there is straight up a history book that says how to grow xenomorphs.
How to grow the
The
xenomorph.
predator library with predator librarians.
So you're
If
a
you're not
teenager.
quiet, they chuck a smart disc at you.
Cut off a dreadlock.
You just shite
Oh my god.
or they beat you with a combi stick.
I can see that. I can actually see that, and that's one of those things that's so dumb. But technically speaking, they would have that because they do have like shared knowledge of their species.
And there's certain books that you have to beat the librarian in combat in order to actually check out.
I would like to check out this book. Prove it. Prove you're worth having that book.
It probably looks like you only have to fight me over this, right? You gotta fight me first.
I had to fight someone to get in this damn library.
Like, you gonna fight somebody if you want this book too.
Now what they do is they go to like a predator bar, get the librarian drunk, pretend that it's cool, and it's like the next morning when it has a hangover, it's like, hey, we're taking this. Oh, I'm gonna stop you, and then basically he gets his ass whooped.
Yeah, that's what the smart predators do that can't fight yet.
But just a minute, you had a mental image of a bunch of predators in a bar.
Yeah, no, that is so funny. That'd be terrifying.
Getting drunk.
A drunk predator would be absolutely terrifying.
Hey.
Oh, can you imagine a drunk predator with one of those guns?
Oh my god!
He's with a plasma gun thing. Oh god, yeah.
Accidentally shoots his buddy in the leg and just like blows his entire leg off. Like, oh my god! Ah.
One thing I liked about
are available for riding for Robot Chicken.
That sounds like something Robot Chicken would do.
That's how they what do you call it? That's how they started hunting the xenomorphs. Someone got drunk and dared him to go fight that big bug thing over there. He did it, and he became a legend among his people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually thinking about that, I remember in the Alien vs. Predator Extinction game, they actually had the idea of, okay, what we know how all these predators are hunting for sport. What if there was a military predator, and they had two versions of them, and they were OP as fuck?
Yeah, I remember those, and they had like it was like
one
the
of them
hunter predators. They deliberately like take less gear to make it challenging, but the soldier predators is like no, man, they got freaking
armor,
guns.
They had like plasma caster machine guns, and it's like, where's the challenge? You're just mowing them down like it's nothing.
Yeah, I think one of them had like two like heat laser things that could just fire independent of each other and just burn everything.
Well, in the comic, they actually did explain that. They said that the difference, as we were basically just saying, that when a predator is at war, anything goes. Literally anything goes. So that's why it was cool for them to mow them down, because there's no honor in terms of the usual hunt. The honor that comes in is doing your job.
Yeah, because like in their religion, it's very specific. Like hunt is where the glory is, not necessarily warfare.
Yeah,
yep. And apparently, if you disobey your orders, that's more dishonorable than potentially getting the kill or getting the objective. Because again, I can't remember the woman's name, but there was that one woman that was human and lived with the predators, and
I forget her name too, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and she basically saved the hunt, but because she disobeyed orders, she got bitch slapped.
Yeah, like I remember her whole arc was like she's conflicted with like because the predators aren't human. Their culture is just similar enough to recognize things, but it's not a human culture.
Mm-hmm.
So like at some point they start hunting humans, and it's like, no, you're not a human anymore. If you're with us, you're hunting with us. You don't choose their side. They're not your equals. They are now your prey. They're not human. So
get stabby.
Stabby, or we stabby you.
Basically.
Hey, Shorty, that was the one that basically didn't like her. Tried to stabby her anyways, but she basically went in anime attack mode. You know how they say out their name out loud?
Yeah. Oh my god, I remember that. And one thing I always found kind of funny is that like Shorty was like her quote unquote rival in the clan. But
Yep.
I always thought it was kind of stupid because like he's like a notoriously short predator. Like he's like his height is like that of an average human, which is
Damn, that's
short
short for predators.
Yeah, and I was like, it's kind of fucked up that she's basically picking on the runt of the litter, but it's also fucked up like the runt of the litter is your rival. Like, don't sit here. Like, she's a badass. Don't get me wrong. Don't
Oh,
get
yeah.
me wrong. She's an absolute badass. But making the runt of the litter your rival does not bode well.
No.
I'll kick your ass any day. Yeah, we all can kick his ass. That's why we call him Shorty.
Pretty
Like,
much, yeah.
He kicks his ass, and it's like, how you like that? And then, like, one of the players like, man, I kicked his ass yesterday. You ain't proving shit.
He's like, yeah, we all kick his ass.
And one of the reasons why we kick his ass is because he always shouts out the name of his attack before attacking.
Sneak attack.
Funk.
Whatever the Yautja version is of a sneak attack. It's a miracle he managed to kill a xenomorph in the first place.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he was able to.
He's the only one who killed it with a Home Alone trick. He like tripped it down a flight of stairs and it broke its neck.
And now I have this mental image of a predator going.
No, he killed a protomorph, like that lesser xenomorph David created, but he never
killed a
told anybody.
neomorph.
It looks just enough for him to get a pass.
Yep.
Oh, you did it! You killed one, and he was like, "Oh, it was kind of smaller than the other ones." What? No, don't worry about it.
Sorry to get off topic there. It was just a.
Nah, I mean, I think that's a good point to cut it off because way over the time I normally was gonna shoot for. So
yeah, it's like almost going on 1 o'clock now.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, this was fun because I know we got into a lot of side tangents, but to me, that's where the fun really kind of dives in. But I kind of hate because it kind of like. I'm not gonna say anything bad about it, but I feel like it kind of speaks volumes to how like the Alien franchise kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did.
Because I know like Predator's a good easy comparison to make. Like Predator 1, 2, Predators, AVPs. Despite how you feel, at least they keep some consistent tone, and they at least the first 3 are competent. But like, you can't even say that for Alien because like. Even as much as I love Aliens, the tone completely changes from 1 to 2. And then 3, it kind of goes back to the original tone. But since 2 is like so popular, a lot of people kind of expect that to be the tone.
Yeah.
And then Resurrection comes along and it tried too hard with that tone. And it's just like, as much as like the movies are great, like Aliens, and Alien 3, it's just all over the damn place.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's something we should get into the stream about tomorrow, depending on who's going, of course, is talking about can current day creators actually make sequels anymore? Because if you think about it, again, you think Alien Covenant, you think Terminator Woke Fate, you think the last Predators movie, they've all been kind of terrible. And then, of course, you think about the other sci-fi franchises out there, current Star Trek, that's been contentious to say the least. A buddy of mine and I are Star Trek fans, and he loves Picard. I hate Picard. Like really? I basically almost want to get to the point where I get drunk and just want to like yell at the guy. Like, what's wrong with you?
Oh man, I got so many thoughts with that because I feel like it's. I guess you could call this a preview for that stream, but like I'm assuming that's Slim's stream, right?
Yeah, Slim.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we could talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, but I just want to say because obviously I love Predator, I love Alien. I would totally love to do a sequel. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be as good as the originals, but not to toot my own horn, but I think I could do something with
I actually had an idea for like you could do like a Predator anthology thing where it's set in different time periods.
Honestly, that's what I would do. Every Predator and Alien movie following what I had control over would just be an anthology. At the very least, there would be references to maybe the old or previous film. At least in like a like maybe you see like a news story that talks about like an explosion that happened, and if you know what happened in that previous movie, oh, that's what happened. And I don't know, but basically, like, I think it's possible. I think you have to have the right people behind the scenes, and B, I don't think you would ever get a Hollywood studio to do it. It would have to probably be like an independent thing.
I'm curious what that Neil Blomkamp plan for an Alien 5 would have been.
Oh my god, you should look up some of the stuff on it because some of those ideas, like, I don't want to say they were great, but some of them, like, compared to what we got, they sound so interesting.
Like there was that thing where like Ripley was wearing like an alien, like a xenomorph suit thing, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, Hicks was alive. Newt was supposed to come back too. Like, it basically completely undoes Alien 3 and everything past that.
Which
Like,
I'm already a plus.
concept alone, like, if you get the chance, just look up some of that stuff, and like, it might make you sad because we never got to see it, but at the same time, it's like, it gives you hope that like an Alien movie could still be good.
Or at least be decent. Like I'll take decent at this point.
Yeah.
We all will.
All right, so I'm
Okay.
gonna go ahead and cut it there. I want to thank
Totally
everybody
cool.
for joining.
Thanks, man.
Jay,
Thanks, Edgy, for coming too.
yeah, thank you, Edgy. This is your first appearance. Hopefully, it won't be the last.
Yeah, I have to come back at some other point in
Yeah,
time.
and I want to thank Soggy, who is here with us in spirit. She
Mhm.
provided us with that. I should have taken a screenshot of it, but that picture of Roosevelt punching an alien.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And Roger Ripley.
Roger Ripley. Everyone who watched the stream, either now or in the future, I appreciate it. And I'm gonna have to call it here. Have a good night.
Night, gentlemen.
Night.
Good night.